California, here we come.
California's population is bouncing back after a COVID-era dip, increasing for the second year in a row. According to a new report by the Department of Finance, the state grew by approximately 108,000 people in 2024 to a total of just over 39.5 million residents. The increase is due in part to births outpacing deaths and a boost in the number of adults 65 and older. In a statement, Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom says the continued growth is a sign of the state's robust economy and a vote of confidence. People from across the nation and the globe are coming to the Golden State to pursue the California dream, Newsom says, where rights are protected and people are respected. I'm Jennifer King.
A Soviet-era spacecraft meant to land on Venus back in the 70s but never made it, expected to soon plunge uncontrolled back to Earth. Too early to say where the half-ton mass of metal might come down or how much will survive re-entry. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. What a way to celebrate a birthday. In this case, it's two for the price of one.
The U.S. Army has been planning a 250th birthday festival on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. for June 14th, which just happens to coincide with President Trump's 79th birthday. The large parade is a newly added element, one that Trump has long wanted. He said this in 2017 after seeing France's Bastille Day parade.
It was really a beautiful thing to see. They had representatives from different wars and different uniforms. It was really so well done.
Ben Thomas, Washington.
That man who fell from the 21-foot-high Clemente Wall, right field at PNC Park in Pittsburgh during a game between the Pirates and the Chicago Cubs remains hospitalized in critical condition. Pittsburgh Public Safety posting on X that the incident is being treated as accidental in nature. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travelers said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Friday, everybody. We finally made it.
Yes.
It was a long week for me. I don't know why. It just was.
This week has been one of those, like, Monday was a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah, you ain't wrong. Like, Monday does seem like a year ago.
And I'll tell you, a big part of it is because we're coming off of, the holiday weekend last week, the shorter week. And so this week is just going to, it feels longer. Plus, there's a lot of transition in this week.
Yeah.
We had 2 months in this week.
And I'm not going to lie, this morning's weather's making me feel weird.
Yeah?
Like, it don't feel right to get up on a Friday morning, and it feels like it's going to rain.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I come in this morning to look at the weather forecast.
Yeah.
And they've, pulled all the chances of rain till Sunday.
Really? Not even today?
No.
Wow.
Like, they're talking about wind.
Uh-huh.
And cloudy, but no rain.
I got to tell you, I experienced... So you know how they've recently, on the weather service, started utilizing the phrase isolated sprinkles?
Yes.
I experienced isolated sprinkles the other day.
Some?
I did. I got me some. So I was having my normal, lunchtime whatever's with my friend. And,
oh, yeah.
And I was sitting out. We were sitting on our back patio, just kind of hanging out. And all of a sudden, just this microburst blew in. And all of a sudden, it was just pouring down rain for like 4 minutes, and then it was gone.
Funny you mentioned that.
Uh-huh.
This was, what's today, Friday? Like Wednesday?
I think it was Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah. So Wednesday, I leave for lunch.
Uh-huh.
I go and I drive home for lunch that day to go check on the cats and, do thing.
Sure.
And I noticed that I was pulling the garage. I was like, hey, looks like it's about to rain.
Right. Because it was hot up until that point.
Yeah.
Then the sun started getting covered up. You're like, oh, that's kind of nice.
And then I went inside and didn't think much of it.
Right.
And kind of went about. But I remember being inside and because I have skylights in certain rooms of the house. And so whenever it rains, those are like dead giveaways. You just hear it because
you
they
get
sound.
the pitter patter.
And so I was in. I heard that, and I was like, "Oh, it must be raining." And then I ain't gonna lie, I fell asleep in my chair for a little bit, and I woke up, and it was sunny and fine, so I didn't think much of it.
Right.
And I got here, and Roy was here. And I said, "Roy, did it rain for a minute? I could have sworn and he was like, "No, never rained here, nothing." And so I was like, "Maybe I'm just crazy."
You just dreamed rain.
And so you said that, I was like, "I know I'm not crazy. I thought I heard it."
Yeah, well, because because we were under it's just like a awning. It's not really like a solid one, but it was made like a material fabric.
Yeah.
And at first it was like, it's fine. But then after it really kind of started, pitter patter, we were like, we need to get inside a place. And so we went into the shed and kind of watched it go down.
Yeah. But so good. I'm not crazy.
No.
Well, I might be, but not that wasn't the point that pointed it out.
Just lazy, eccentric, and pretentious. Not crazy.
That's right. Chicken.
Check.
But because I came in this morning because I looked, I was like, ooh, the rain's coming.
Right.
And I literally got in, I was like, the rain?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Sunday now's the rain? But it's all good chances. Like it's like this big, and I'm not a weatherman. I turn on the weather in the night just like you guys do. I remember seeing, like just thinking, okay, it's gonna be the rain, and then I just. And they're talking, but I came in, I'm like, what happened? I was kind of mad. I'm not going to lie, because I'm like,
well, because it's been lying to you all week.
But apparently, I guess the weather people saying there's this big cell that's coming through, and I guess, I don't know, is it late? Maybe they've been reading this all week, and I guess it's just slower moving or something. I don't know, but it went from like it was supposed to rain today till we're not seeing rain till Sunday. But the one I'm looking at is once it does come, we got rain chances for days. Because once Sunday hits, we got rain chances every day, like monsoon season through Thursday.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm sorry, Tuesday, there's no chance. But other than that, Wednesday, Monday, they're all rain chances. So Thursday, I don't know. But
some of those pay off.
Sunday, we're looking at like a 50%. But it drops to 40 Monday, but nothing for Saturday. They just say cloudy. But it's going to be cooler. Like today's high is 68. Tomorrow's high is 76. Sunday will be 77. So it's going to be cooler.
Yeah.
Like I was regretting not having a coat this morning. Like I just now I'm in that mode now where like the coat is done for the year and it's
really
it's like it's in the closet packed away or whatever.
And normally you have it at the ready for even like the warm mornings.
Well, my wife put it away. That's what happened. And
I see.
And I just haven't pulled it out of the closet yet because there's no need. And this morning was no different, but I got out. And I actually didn't get till I got here because I literally leave the garage and but once I got here and parked and I was walking, I was like, man, I think I should have grabbed a jacket this morning. Now, 10 years ago, Mike, 20 years ago, Mike, I would have been in shorts.
Yeah.
But older Mike?
Yeah.
Gets cold
Just get
sometimes
a little colder.
now.
You get a little colder as you get older.
I get cold sometimes.
My dad, I remember for the back half of his life, he wore this, and it was, I don't know if he just like had a connection that always got him the same kind of coat, the way I do my shoes, but it was a gray coat with a plaid inner lining, very similar to what you would associate with a members only jacket, but with less zipper pockets.
A less hip members only jacket.
A much less hip members only jacket. Yes.
Did it have the epaulette buttons and everything like a members only jacket?
It didn't have that, no. But you know what it did have was like a wave. Like right here, there was just like a wave of material for no reason.
All right.
But yeah, he always had that same coat for 20 years of my life that I remember.
My question is, in the history of the members only jacket, was there ever a members only meeting about the members only jacket?
I like to think that the members got together at some point.
Right,
I do know that now every year they do have a members only convention.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know about this year, but I've watched specials before about how because the members only jacket became such a
it's almost timeless.
It's timeless in that it's a thing of its time.
But you could wear one today and people be fine with it.
Sure. But it cements itself in that generation of that that style. And so it became so iconic that to this day they have conventions and get-togethers where they're like, let's all get together and have a celebration of members only jackets.
I think the only way you look ridiculous in a members only jacket is if you button up all the buttons. Like they even had that one that went across the neck. Like if you had that one going.
The long strap one, yeah.
Now if you have that one going, and it's not like Tundra out. You're just trying to make a statement. Then I'm judging you. But past that, you're all right.
I wonder if members only ever made anything besides jackets. Is what I'm curious about.
Like members only socks and underwear, or members only hats.
I'm looking
members only. I don't know.
Well, for some reason, I'm thinking the fanny pack.
Well, while you're members only, I will give you the rundown here.
Oh my God! There's still an online store.
Oh, you can buy a members only jacket today.
You can buy a new members only jacket today, and it's not.
Well,
it's now they have a whole run of styles. Apparently,
we just missed my birthday, but
they do sweaters. They do, all kinds of different clothes.
I ain't gonna lie. If I'm gonna get a members only jacket, I want the OG.
It has to be the OG.
Yeah. And to be honest, I want it in either that maroon color, that grayish. There was like a gray color they had, and then there was like this dark blue, but not quite navy color.
Okay.
They had there was like 3 or 4 signature colors you saw all the time.
Yeah. No, and there were definitely those, and that's a specific style. Like with the tag, I mean, you have to, as long as you had the visible tag.
Yeah,
it was,
and it needs the epaulets.
Yep.
With the button epaulets and
it
the button everything.
Absolutely a status symbol. I was just reading about the Members Only Jacket Club. It's an online gathering of members only enthusiasts.
I would love to see that meeting. What do they do at a members only meeting?
I discuss epaulets.
They're just like, oh, is that a 72? Oh, I got an 84. I mean, what is that they're looking at?
Because that's what they're tossing around like vintages. And,
right.
Like, let me show you this, and they open up a glass case, and it's like an 85.
Like, is there an OG designer of the original thing that they all pay homage to, like the Rubik's Cube guy and the Rubik's Cube world? I mean, there's a like, all hail John Member or whoever designed the jacket.
I'll have you know, my father, Philip Members Only, started this company in 1946 with just a few pieces of material and a dream.
That's right. My first son, John Bartholomew Members Only, took him years to get into Members Only.
I, Thaddeus Members Only the Third, shall not stand for a takeover of my company. Just Members Only, all one word.
But then you go like in this deep, dark basement, and that's where they have the secret meetings.
Right.
And then they have members only, but it's in like some weird Gaelic. And it's also in that script where it says it forwards or backwards or upside down. Kind of like, the whole, the thing with Tom Hanks running around Vatican.
Yeah, that style.
You know what I'm talking about.
I just pictured a giant goat statue in a fashionable jacket up at the front.
Right. I like it.
A fashionable pullover.
On that note, I was going to do the rundown. I started to, and I don't know what happened there. But here we go. We're going to start. We're going to replay an interview this hour. We had the folks from the Roswell Symphony Orchestra join us, Maestro John Ferrer and Cisco Brink, talking about the big show tomorrow night.
Yes.
Beethoven fans don't want to miss it. So we're going to play that interview here in just a few. Charles Eastlist, Undersheriff for the Chaves County Sheriff's Office, will pop in here in the 8 o'clock hour. Give us an update on things you got going on. I know they're organizing a cleanup at Memory Lawn tomorrow, and they're looking for volunteers and things. So we'll chit-chat about that and other things with Charles. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, Barbara Gomez with Main Street Roswell will pop in for her monthly visit, give us an update on probably a lot of stuff with UFO Festival, with, of course, the Reno Air Races, and just Main Street business in general. So we'll talk all that with Barbara in the 9 o'clock hour.
Indeed.
We'll also have all the newses of the locals and national variety, Wall Street business updates, and whatever else we can come up with for today's show. But first, even though we've been talking about the weather, the official weather from the guy that got paid to learn about weather. Here's your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A shower or two possible later on today with a low-pressure system and stationary front nearby. A little bit of sunshine, though, and we'll be in the mid-70s, and it will be a little bit gusty. A few showers possible overnight, down to 50. Sunshine for the most part on Saturday, but we still do have a chance of an afternoon shower. We'll be in the upper 70s. Scattered showers on Sunday, and 80. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. All the weather's hedging their bets because he's talking there's a little rain. I'm looking at the National Weather Service thing, and that's usually what I go by every day. And they're not talking about rain till Sunday. I mean, there's cloudy and all that, but I'm going to say somewhere in the middle's right. There's probably not going to be much rain, but you know how we will live around here. Something just pops up like a random lunch rain every once in a while. So probably see a few of those. But currently 59 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 62%. Winds are a-blowing out of the north, 23, gusting to 29 miles per hour. Skies will be cloudy today, gradually becoming sunny. A high of 68 expected, so it is going to be cooler. Northeast winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 49. East winds 10 to 15. They'll drop down out of the south 5 to 10 after midnight tonight. They're calling for sunny skies, mid-70s, 76 for a high on Saturday. South winds 5 to 10 early, 10 to 15 for the afternoon. Partly cloudy tonight. Saturday night, overnight low of 50 with south winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. And then now they say the rains are moving in on Sunday. They're talking 50% chance of rain Sunday. Pretty much looks like all day. Chances they're doing that word salad with this rain before noon and this afternoon. But partly cloudy and a high of 77. South winds 10 to 15 early, 15 to 20 for Sunday afternoon. 50% chance of rain for Sunday night, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 54. 40% chance of rain on Monday, mostly sunny, 78. 40% chance of rain Monday night, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 50. And then Tuesday, sunny, 75. Wednesday, 30% chance of rain and 72. Thursday, a 20% chance of rain, sunny and 77. So we'll see. I mean, like they're saying, but I'm looking out the window right now, and I'm like, I feel like it could rain any minute. So they say it's not supposed to rain today or tomorrow, but don't be surprised if it does. All right, 7:20, we're going to take a 2-minute break, and then we're going to play our interview with the folks from the Roswell Symphony Orchestra. Don't go away.
Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. That's a lyric from a well-known kids song. Along with Jesus Loves Me, This I Know, they are probably the first two songs many of us learned, especially if we started our life in church. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that fewer and fewer of our children today learn those songs or truly understand that Jesus loves them and that he continues to love them for their entire lives, no matter where they find themselves or no matter what they do. Wouldn't our world be a better place if every child were taught the love of God for them? When Jesus was asked what the most important commandment was, he stated that the first was love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. If we teach the children in our lives those two valuable lessons, along with how God loves them, they will have a great foundation for a good life.
Join us at the Country Club Road on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and want out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our grateful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new low. Subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires in 1 cent.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Bamboo plants can grow up to 36 inches in a day. So if you're told you're growing like a weed, you can say, no, I'm growing like a bamboo. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 22 minutes after 9 o'clock. And joining us in studio from the Roswell Symphony Orchestra, of course, Maestro John Farrar and Cisco back with us this morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Mike.
Glad to see you back again. How's life been treating y'all?
You know, if it was any better, I don't think we could stand it.
That's right.
It's just that good.
There was a saying somebody used to, if it would be any better, I'd be twins or something like that.
Even better.
Yeah,
Even better.
One of those older folks from back in the radio days used to say it all the time. But for folks that aren't familiar, first off, Roswell Symphony Orchestra is one of New Mexico's treasures. It's much bigger than Roswell. And it is, I have to say, if you talk like, think of whatever, the Philharmonic, the San Francisco, or whatever the major, guess what? Roswell Symphony Orchestra is really like New Mexico's Symphony Orchestra.
You are so right.
And, of course, you guys have been doing many great shows for years and years and years. But it is really a beautiful thing that's a makeup of musicians from all over Southwest. And they collaborate a couple times a year to come and do these great performances through the Symphony Orchestra.
Yes, they do.
And but we got a special show for everyone this Saturday night. And if you're a Beethoven fan, pianist, and if you're familiar with William Kinderman, then Saturday night's going to be your Super Bowl. But if you're, I think this is a great opportunity for folks to kind of learn and be entertained by classical music.
And it is,
sense.
like a Super Bowl. That's a very
good analogy.
Good analogy.
Yeah.
Yes. This is our last subscription concert.
Okay, so this is the grand finale of the
2024-2025
exactly, right.
season.
So this is your last chance for this year. Well, this season.
Yes, sir.
We will be back hard in the.
We will be back
in the fall here, but so this is your last opportunity to. So I'm guessing if you're a season ticket holder. This is your last chance to take advantage of your season tickets here.
And very soon, season tickets will be on sale for the upcoming
season.
the
new season, too.
Right.
So get in early because this is the thing, yes, you definitely want to check out Saturday. But if you get an opportunity to get the season tickets, be first in line for that because there's you're not going to get this level of quality musicians and entertainment in a place like this anywhere else like that. I mean,
absolutely true.
Like to see the level of entertainment you're seeing, you have to go to places like New York City.
Yeah. I've lived in Roswell for 5 years and been on the board for about 2 years, and I'm barely now unpacking why this exists in Roswell. Why is an organization?
How did it happen here?
Why is an orchestra of this quality, of this caliber? Yeah. I mean, the maestro and I were just talking about it. He's surprised how good it is. And so I started trying to unpack this. Is it because of Pearson Auditorium? Well, that's a great concert hall. It helps, but that's not the only reason. Is it because of exorbitant grants and subsidies? No, that's not the reason. It turns out that it's the largesse of the people of Roswell, the support of donors, some big, some small.
We just have a great community.
We have a
supporters.
Great community. That's why this orchestra was formed about 66 years ago. That's why it existed yesterday.
Because it is kind of like of all places.
Of all places.
Yeah, it's very special. Very special.
But that's the common thread of the Roswell Symphony yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It's the support of the folks.
We want to keep supporting it for the next 100 years or whatever.
There you go.
As long as it's around here. And it starts by coming out Saturday night. Come see William Kinderman. And like I said, he's like Beethoven to me is the Joe Montana of classical music, or whatever you want to say it. Like if you ask people classical music, they're going to throw out something like Beethoven as the first thing. And so William, he's a scholar at Beethoven. This guy, he's a master pianist, but he also knows quite a bit about Beethoven as well, too. And so he's going to be featured Saturday night at the concert.
Well, I consider Kinderman the world expert on Beethoven.
Yeah.
And that's saying something.
Not many people know more about this man other than probably Beethoven.
he's right now, I've known him for a long time. We're doing Piano Concerto number 5 Saturday night. It's called The Emperor. It's the last of the 5. And Bill and I have done the previous 4 at one time or another. In fact, he did number 3 here a few years ago.
Okay.
And somehow in a cadenza, he managed to get in the theme from Close Encounters of the Third Kind or First Kind or something like that. Any rate, I don't know how he managed to do that.
That's pretty cool.
But he's a distinguished professor at UCLA.
Okay.
And his latest book on Beethoven has to do with Beethoven as a political activist, which I hadn't.
So he's
really
into deep history, not just the music, but the life and the times of him.
He's written many books, and in my world, in the world of symphony orchestra, or the world of music in general, either you're a scholar, a musicologist, and you write books and that sort of thing, or you're a performer. Bill is, and this is a word I don't use, unique
He's the winner of both.
In that he does both at a very, very high level. And so I'm really looking forward to doing this.
I'm curious, what's more fun? I mean, obviously planes probably more fun, but but people that love to research, there is a certain satisfaction of digging and finding new clouds and things. I mean, there's a euphoric feel to that too. So I'd be very curious what gives them the bigger high sometimes. Is it finding out new things on Beethoven or playing?
Well, we can ask him, but to give you an idea of how highly he's regarded in the scholarly world, he was involved with the establishment of a Beethoven museum in Vienna.
Okay.
About 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
That was a very unusual thing to be asked to do. So he's a scholar and a pianist of the first rank, and I can tell you he's a very entertaining lecturer as well. So, and he's going to have a few words to say to the audience before he plays on Saturday.
So how did the relationship with the RSO and him start? How did that, where he's come and be
Well, he's been a friend of mine for a long time.
Gotcha. So it's just through you and just through friends and through music together and said, hey, come on down to Roswell.
Right.
We got a cool little niche of community that loves this stuff.
Right. So, and then he's actually he and his wife are going to stay for a day or two and sort of explore the area and everything again.
So this will be, now, are you going to indoctrinate him on the green chili?
Absolutely.
All right, just making sure,
Absolutely.
I don't know what they feed him over in California, but,
Not as well as New Mexico, I can tell you that.
Yeah. No, don't hit him too hard, because I don't want to get him heartburning on Saturday night for the show.
No. Nice bland food before the concert.
Right.
Right.
We don't want to pause for a Tums breaker. But, so kind of talk about, like, for Saturday night, what's going to be the show like? What's kind of the
last piece will be this Beethoven Emperor Concerto.
Okay.
Number 5, E flat major. Great work. Prior to that, first half, an overture by von Weber called Euryanthe. A lot of, believe it, if you've played in a school orchestra or band, you've probably played that work.
Okay.
Then we're going to do Salome's Dance from an opera by Richard Strauss called Salome, and then 2 Slavonic dances. Dvorak wrote these for piano 4 hands in the 1870s, and at that time, in the United States, there was only one orchestra. It was called the New York Philharmonic, which had been formed in 1842. People don't.
They're still kind of a big deal if you never heard of them.
Well, it's people take symphony orchestras for granted nowadays, but it wasn't until about 1900 that the cities of Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago had symphony orchestras.
And it's great to see that.
Yeah.
Now it's almost a status. Like if you want to be considered a cultured area.
Correct.
You've got to have a symphony orchestra or a philharmonic or a music scene like this.
Right. So, and then coming back to the Beethoven for a minute, I think it's important to remember from time to time that Beethoven was deaf.
Mm-hmm.
He was born with wonderful hearing, but then he lost his hearing when he was about 30. So when he wrote this concerto, he couldn't hear it. And so we actually, when we hear this, we're experiencing something that Beethoven himself never
heard. And it just so happened, and I don't know how much of this, it was literally like a social media factoid post thing that I kind of like, oh, that's interesting. And it was really, and it was actually a thing talking about what Beethoven used to, like, there was something with vibrations and something where he had like his, and this would be a William Kinderman question, I'm sure, but they were talking about like he had this something with his mouth and he could feel the vibrations, and that's how he wrote the music or something. I knew enough to know that was like how he knew the notes and how he could hear the notes in his version was something with the vibrations.
Musicians, I mean, we all hear things in our inner ears.
Mm-hmm.
And in Beethoven's case, though, it was a tragedy, of course, for a musician. Particularly, he didn't have just regular hearing; he had super hearing. When it was just incredible. But for him to lose his hearing was a tragedy. But because of that, we know a lot more because he kept a conversation book in his home.
Okay.
And so if you went to visit Beethoven and you could speak, you would have to write out what it was you wanted to ask him, and then he would write a response. So and Bill Kinderman would know all about this. So we know all sorts of things about Beethoven because he wrote
a lot of it was chronicalized because he had to journalize everything to get it communicate and things.
And there's a great story as well that he was a string quartet came to play the first read through of one of his new string quartets, and the first violin complained about something, about string crossings or something. And Beethoven said, he wrote down, "I don't care about your miserable fiddle. You know, this is what I want, and you figure out how to do it." So, I mean, we would not know any of this if it weren't for what are called the conversation books.
It is so, and this is the part I love. I mean, the music is beautiful, but I just, I'm always, this is probably why I'm radio. I've always been that guy. What's the story of the person that got it there to do the thing, you know? And it's like there's so many things that I really am not interested in, like per se the thing. Like, I will give you an example. Wrestling. As a kid, I watched the wrestling, but I have no interest in watching it now. But if you want to tell me the innards of how it went down and this and that, I'll watch that all day.
Okay.
I'm one of those people that I love behind the scenes of things. So for me, I to hear Beethoven, but to me, I'm almost more interested in how did he do what he did do despite what he, you know what I mean? That to me is what makes it. I mean, take all of that out, he's still arguably one of the greatest musicians of all time.
Right.
But then you're like, oh, by the way, he's deaf. He dealt with this, and he's still putting out music that's relevant hundreds of years later.
Right,
you know?
right.
I agree.
That to me, that's the fascinating part. It's like, how did someone get that and do?
Well,
that?
we'll have to get you one of Mr. Kinderman's books. Okay?
Yeah,
so
that is amazing.
He knows all about that.
And but we would love to have folks come out now. If you're a student, put your pocketbook back in your wallet or whatever there is. Students can get in and come and participate.
Yes, student admission is free to include cadets at the Institute.
Yes.
Come in uniform, represent.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That concert is this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Pearson Auditorium. I think we should all, we're here to talk about the Saturday concert primarily, but I think it's worth mentioning that tomorrow, Friday, at 1 p.m., there's a young person's concert. We do those for the public
younger
schools.
students and things. Yeah,
fifth
public
grade.
schools.
Fifth grade. Yeah.
For this spring young person's concert, it's going to be fifth grade, like John just said.
Yeah.
Students are bussed in. However, if you're a private school student, a homeschool student, there's some space for you too in that balcony section.
We'll get you in. We'll get you in. Good news is that place holds quite a few people.
About 1,200.
Yeah, we can get you, and it's a beautiful venue to see.
It's completely different music, by the way, for the
kids.
We're doing something from Harry Potter, for example.
Stuff that probably more in the pop culture world that you recognize.
More William Tell Overture, that kind of
historical classical pieces that have made their way to pop culture. Basically.
Right.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I hadn't been until the one you did this fall, John, and he actually does a demonstration of each instrument before the pieces that he's going to play. This is what the tuba sounds like.
Yeah.
He'll bring all the brass out.
And this is like, for me, like for my kid, like as my childhood, when I think of this stuff, you know what? I don't know if they do this anymore, but Peter and the Wolf.
You remember? Oh, yes. Oh, sure.
To me, that was the...
Tchaikovsky, right?
That's what taught me as a child, like the orchestra, and like, because each instrument was a different character, and so they told a story with the instrument. Right. So you hear the oboe and you know it means this guy or whatever, you know.
Right.
And so to me, that's a great way to teach kids music, and I didn't know if they still do that kind of thing.
Well, we
do.
I know, but I mean in schools and things like that is what I mean.
It's a genius of a piece, as you say. Each character has its own instrument.
Yeah,
you know,
and so that's why I love that. And to me, that I'm almost thinking like that's the way to teach kids how to be into this. Is
Absolutely.
You associate it with a story, and you give it something. And I'm a 50-year-old man, and I haven't heard that thing in probably 40 years, but I could do it. You know what I mean?
Thank you for the reminder, Mike, and we'll make that happen.
But that's what I think. This is tomorrow. Certainly is going to be that kind of thing. So bring the kids out. Like I said, we'll have a little room. So if you are homeschool, come on down. What time do they need?
1 p.m.
1 o'clock at Pearson.
Be there at 1 p.m. and then we'll get you in. Like I said, and if you've never been to a event, any kind of event at the Pearson, first off, shame on you. How the hell do you have to pull that one off? But second, make Saturday or tomorrow, with the kids here, with students, make your first time. Come see, and you're literally seeing the Babe Ruth of Beethoven. I'm going to hit a different one each time.
We like your analogies,
literally
Mike.
feet from you, doing things right here in Roswell, New Mexico. I'm telling you, to see this level of stuff, you're paying hundreds of dollars and you're sitting in some place like the Sydney Opera House to do it. That's what I'm telling you. You're getting it right here in your own backyard, and you're getting it mean, what are tickets for tickets?
The high end is $45 for the best, the pink section.
Yeah.
And as low as $30 to $35.
I'm telling you ain't sniffing $45 in no symphony opera house or any place of that.
No.
$45 will get you in the lobby.
And those are available at the door. You can come to the door the night of the concert, get a ticket. We would prefer, though, for you to purchase ahead, and you can do that online.
Sure makes people feel better when they have advance tickets.
At RoswellSymphony.org. RoswellSymphony.org.
And bookmark that and stay on, because here in a few short weeks here, we're going to be offering up the next season tickets and all that here. And I'm telling you, be the first to get on the jump on here as they unveil. Because I'm sure you guys are cooking up quite a lineup for next season here, and
yes, we are.
Yeah, that's not quite releasable yet, but
I'm just promising right now it's going to be good.
What I will simply say is that in the same way that like a mall and the night visitors at Christmas, in the same way that was entertaining, we have several concerts among our 4 that are going to be just as good like that, just as entertaining. You want to get your season tickets.
And you'd mentioned the homeschooling thing. You know what? If you're a homeschooler, I think you should get season tickets for your family, because, I mean, this is for anybody, but particularly if you're like, I'm wanting to educate my kid at home, every experience with the RSO is going to be an educational, fun experience for your child. They're going to be exposed to things that it's music, especially when we talk about classical music and things like that. It spawns and generates so much other, like people that are good in math and science. I'm telling you, the music comes to play in some of that. And there's some people that understand math and science better because music is involved, if that makes sense. It's people don't, people can do complex math, but sometimes you just present formulas and things, it doesn't register. But you do it through a musical thing or present it in a way that creates that side of the brain. This is why, when they said STEAM or STEM, I'm like, STEM is awesome. We need STEAM, stream, whatever it is. You need the arts and the music and everything in there, because without that side of it, you're raising half a kid.
You're
so
right.
STEM with 2 M's.
Yeah.
An M for music.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mike, you've probably also heard the story about Albert Einstein and his string quartet at Princeton, and he came in wrong. And one of the other musicians in the string quartet said, "Albert, can't you count?"
That's awesome.
Yeah, and but to me, and that's the beauty, because I love music, but my brain's not wired to make music. It just turns to like back in 4th grade, and they're teaching you the recorder.
Mm-hmm.
I could get 3 blind mice, hot cross buns, depending on the words. But anything past that song, I was probably over my head on it, and it's just, I don't know, my brain doesn't work that way.
And you're not alone, but you can still appreciate it.
Exactly.
It's a lovely thing.
But it makes me in awe of people that can. Like I would give quite a bit to be able to play, say, a guitar or an instrument the way some people can play, even casually. People
Seriously,
just have I don't
I've
have
given
that
up on guitar myself.
I don't have that ability, but I wish I did, and I'm envious of people that do. I'm not gonna lie.
No, Mike, I really appreciate you. You're helping me with my new sales pitch. Mom and Dad could get season tickets, and guess what? Those kids in that homeschool family, let's say,
exactly,
those are students. They come free.
I'm telling you, make this a part of your family. This is way more than entertainment. It's part of the thing. Yes. I guarantee Saturday night and every night that you have one of these concerts, you're going to be out there like, man, I'm blown away by the quality and the level of the skills of these musicians and these artists that are coming on the stage every single time. That's the part that just because you don't know about it doesn't mean it's good. And that's what I mean. You're literally seeing the human history of music right before your eyes right here. Every piece of music you can think of is going to equate back to things you're seeing Saturday night.
Absolutely right.
That's what I love about this. If you want to see how the thing is made, you got to know the past. You got to know where it comes from. If you want to be a musician, I know in this day and age, if you're good at computers, that you can pass as one nowadays. But if you want to be you want to be at the level of your music being remembered 200 years later, you're going to learn more than how to work a computer. That's all I'm saying.
Very
you need
rare.
to understand the concepts. You need to know the Beethovens, the Mozarts. You need to know what they did so you can take what they did and make it bigger, better, stronger, whatever it is.
That's a great point because, who knows how many pieces of music have been written over histories? I don't know, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
But only a few are still remembered because they have some special quality about them that appeals to generation after generation after generation.
Absolutely.
And that's what we play.
And that's timeless. And that's something, what makes Shakespeare so great?
Same thing.
It's because it's just as relevant hundreds of years later when it was written as is today. Guess what? Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, all these legendary,
they're always fresh.
Same thing. Yeah. And guess what? Look at even influences of today's music. It all goes back. I guarantee any heavy metal song is basically electric version of a classical music song in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean?
That's saying something.
It really is. I mean,
it is.
And to be honest, the feelings are exactly the same. Back in Mozart's time and Beethoven, they're pushing envelopes. They're just like artists and things are doing today.
And as you said earlier, Mike, the human story is always the same. They're people. They're actually people who do this.
Yeah.
And the dynamic doesn't change over the centuries.
Yeah. And that's the part. And as I get older, this is the kind of lesson that I'm kind of learning myself. As we think of people like Mozart, Bach, Van Gogh, whatever. These iconic artists or people that are just the test of time are still well known today, and because of those people, we all almost put them in a urethral, non-human-like existence where they didn't. I'm sure they didn't eat like or poor like. You know what I mean? Like they didn't live like the common person. But every one of them, all of them did. They came, and we just think they came from because we know them from their high water mark. But that's the thing that gets me in life. It's like Beethoven probably he was poor at one point or something. And what I mean? Just like
they're not marble statues.
They're human beings that probably laughed and got and flawed people like anybody else. Things that about their personalities and lives that probably aren't so memorable. But that's humans. We forget about those parts, but that doesn't make them any less great. And that's kind of
so
what, just a study of history in general. We look at our own history, our founding fathers and all this, no, they're not perfect men. None of them were. But every one of them put their neck on the line. And this is why we celebrate them. And they're all flawed men. Every human being is a flawed person. That's
except those.
The people.
We're getting deep this morning, Mike.
I get deep.
Yeah, wow.
But to me, this is why you go to this stuff, because this is the roots. This is human roots. Saturday night is, you want to know why humans are humans? This is a case study in it, just as much as anything. Yes, it's entertaining and fun, but you want to understand humanity, this is the kind of stuff you got to dig into a little bit.
Well, thank you for saying
I know. I
that.
get way deep and off the rails,
wow, this is deep stuff.
But
this is great. Thank you, Mike.
People forget the big picture sometimes. We get so wrapped up in our world, and I like this, and you like this, but we can't like this.
Now, man does not live on bread alone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Everything is, and every hero you have has a chink in that armor too, and it's okay because that's humans. That's what we are. We're not all as great as people made us out to be, and we're not all as bad as people make us out to be. And music shows us that.
Mike Winter, the philosopher.
That's right. This is philosophizer. People say I talk too much. Usually that gets translated and he talks too much. But anyway, reeling it back in, bring out your families. Come on out Saturday evening. Come on out to the Pearson Auditorium. Get your advance tickets today at RoswellSymphony.org. If you space on it or if your plans are iffy and you're not sure, we will make sure we'll get tickets at the door. But if you can plan a little bit, get them out that way. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to get in line. You can just literally roll through the doors and get seated and get ready for it.
No, we have some great staff, too. If you have questions, give us a call at our offices at 575-623-5882 or rso@dfn.com. Write Jennifer a note. Give her a call. She's our executive director. Jennifer is hitting it out of the park.
She's the one who keeps everybody honest and keeps
she's
everybody
awesome.
in line.
She is awesome.
You always need those people. Because for every one of me, you need like 10 people behind me to reel us in.
You have a staff of 10 here? I didn't know that.
Yeah, wow. I'm impressed. All these people. Wow.
We don't have them. They need them. But we don't have them. But, come out, have some fun. Maestro, let me ask you this. If there's any musicians out there listening said, I always wanted to get my foot in the door with the RSO. How does one do that?
Well, I think probably call Jennifer, call the office, and leave a message, and then eventually I'd get back to that person, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Not sure how much time we have, but with this young person's, is it Young People's Concert?
Yes.
Young People's Concert.
Yes, tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 1 o'clock. There is a handful of high school musicians that are going to shadow certain chairs in our orchestra.
Right.
Okay, so kind of under a mentorship program.
Exactly.
But
cool.
the opportunities like that exist for burgeoning young musicians out there. If you're in middle school right now, be thinking about that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. This is how you cement that thing and everything. But I imagine there's a lot of people maybe come to town and maybe they're a cellist or saxophone player or whatever, percussion, whatever it is, and they're like, man, I would love to meet some of these people and hang out with them and, jam a little bit, and who knows, maybe I sit on the stage with the RSO up there with my instrument. And,
absolutely. But if they get in touch with us, we'll get in touch with them.
Absolutely.
But again, this wonderful thing with high school musicians sitting side by side with professionals, that's a wonderful opportunity.
Absolutely. And this is something that, we kind of touched on at the beginning, but every member of the RSO are rock stars in their own little worlds, if that makes sense. Like these people come from all over.
They play in
the
multiple
Southwest,
orchestras, yeah.
And they are the tops of their circles at the various. If they're teachers or some of them have other day jobs that aren't related to music, but when they hit the music, they hit it hard, and they're the best at their areas, and so that's what makes the RSO so cool. It's literally when you think of like from the 80s, some of these like mashup super groups where you get these great artists together and the Traveling Wilburys show up, or something like that. That's the RSO. It's literally that you got the best of the best at these instruments in this part of the country. And a couple times a year they come together and jam. That's really what it is.
And the rehearsal schedule is astounding. Maestro was telling me yesterday that it's a 48-hour ramp up. Orchestras in major metropolitan areas, they have 4 days.
They have
96 hours of rehearsal.
Rehearsal
To 48. So it's
so they cut it in half.
It's like a, I don't want to say miracle, but it's a feat.
It's a crash course in orchestral music. That's for sure.
Not just you got to be a high caliber of musician to do that.
Absolutely.
To pull that off.
Right.
But I'm going to take a stab. Most of the players probably wouldn't have it any other way. You know what I mean? Like,
what are you thinking?
I mean, in theory, they want it,
the
time and everything, but I think sometimes the pressure is what drives people sometimes. And so I'm not saying every one of them, but there's a few players in that band that they're like, I ain't thriving until I'm 10 minutes, until I'm late. You know what I mean? It's kind of that. Some people just handle pressure better than others. Some are god awful at it. Some are. But I'm going to say
they know what to expect
that.
now. In other words, they realize that between tonight, which is when we have our first rehearsal, and Saturday night, that it's all got to come together, and they know that before they come here.
They know that not the goof off time is limited to the end. but because I'm going to take a stab that they're all probably, they look at each other as brother and sister in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very,
it's a very family.
Exactly, it's a family.
And so I'm going to imagine Maestro's got to reel it in every once. All right, now let's reel it in. we got a show to get ready for. Knock off the chicanery over here.
We always have regulars, but something else the Maestro told me yesterday is that in over 50 years, he's never had the same ensemble on that stage. It's always a different composition.
It's close, but there's one or two.
That's right.
Pieces
There's
different.
always one or two different.
Right.
So that's also remarkable.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's never been exactly the same.
And they pull off a 10 every time, and that's the beauty. And you're going to see another 10 Saturday night here.
You bet.
So come see William Kinderman, pianist, Beethoven scholar. If you're looking for Beethoven, there's probably not anyone better in the planet that you're going to see than Mr. Kinderman here Saturday night. So
Saturday night, 7:30 p.m., Pearson Auditorium at the New Mexico Military Institute.
Yep. Get your tickets, RoswellSymphonyOrchestra.org. Don't forget, you can follow the Roswell Symphony Orchestra on Facebook as well. Highly recommend you do that. That way you can stay up to date. And from time to time, I know you guys do little special offerings and things on there. So if one wants to take advantage of some of your, giveaways or offerings you do on there from time to time, you got to be a liking to take advantage of it. So do that. But great way to stay up to date on that. And then, of course, if you and I imagine too, if you want to volunteer on the other side, maybe you have zero musical skills, but I'd love to. Hey, I can help out on event nights to, as an usher
thank
or
you for
as
saying that.
or
We
any of the
always
other
need volunteers. We always depend on assist teams and a couple of other organizations. Thank you for saying that.
And I'm going to take a stab that maybe, money's tight. I get you. You'd love to see shows, but can't afford to go every time. Serve as an usher. Might be a chance to get to see a show and save a little money too. Just saying. My dad worked for RFK Stadium back when I was a kid.
Wow.
As an usher, and he did it as he worked for the government. He had a day job. He did that literally just so he could see Redskin games for free and watch concerts. Like he saw Mike Tyson fight. He saw a Rolling Stones concert, all for free working as an usher at countless Redskin games.
Good planning.
Yeah,
Good planning.
Just
I
saying,
like that.
You like, being an usher sometimes is the way on doing that. So volunteering with the RSO.
No, my wife did the same deal in Syracuse.
Yeah, it's not a bad gig. Guys, is there anything we missed? Anything we wanted to share that I sidetracked us
I'll
on?
say the phone number again, 575-623-5882. I'll say it again, 575-623-5882. Or give us an email. Send us an email at rso@dfn.com.
That's right. And come join us Saturday night as William Kinderman plays Beethoven, 7:30 p.m. at the Pearson Auditorium. Tickets available right now at RoswellSymphonyOrchestra.org. They will be available at the door. However, if you do have time, go on the site, get your tickets.
And lots of seats available. So
yeah, and there's not a bad seat in the Pearson Auditorium.
No, there isn't.
Facility.
Even the balcony.
Yeah, if you're up in the balcony or if you're in the front row, it's all amazing. And they've remodeled it in the last 10 years, so it's even nicer than it was.
It's really nice now. Yeah.
Except for the chair noise. That's the only thing they missed. But anyway, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mike.
We'll see you all next time.
Thank you so much.
All right, it is 9:53. This morning is zipping by. Let's pause for news and a quick break before they kick me off the radio. Don't go away.
Now, opting to allow a student candidate to attend the junior college. The student would otherwise be too old to study there before the school year's end. Lieutenant Colonel Christina Stark said the student candidate is a Brazilian citizen and an exceptional student who has already completed a 2-year aviation program in Brazil. And a woman was airlifted out of Devil's Ink well in New Mexico after she and a man fell in Wednesday morning. The Chavez County Sheriff's Office said the woman's injuries were being assessed a little after 8 in the morning. The man who fell in was able to climb back up and call for help. Roswell Fire, Bottomless Lake State Park Rangers, and sheriff's deputies responded to the scene in the Bottomless Lakes area just after 7 in the morning. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A shower or two possible later on today with a low-pressure system and stationary front nearby. A little bit of sunshine, though, and we'll be in the mid-70s, and it will be a little bit gusty. A few showers possible overnight, down to 50. Sunshine for the most part on Saturday, but we still do have a chance of an afternoon shower. We'll be in the upper 70s. Scattered showers on Sunday, and 80. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. Tough day for the Goddard Rockets baseball team at home yesterday, shut out by Artesia 5-0, and that means that Goddard today playing a doubleheader in Artesia would have to win both games to secure the district championship. Also, baseball today, you got Roswell playing a single game at Clovis. That starts at 5 o'clock. Softball action yesterday, Goddard loses a pair at home to Lovington, 6-2 and 12-11. The Rockets finished the season 14-12 and 3-6 in district play. Roswell will be hosting Clovis, a doubleheader that starts at 4:30 this afternoon. Roswell 8-16, 4-6 in district. Clovis 1-23, so tack on a couple extra wins for the Coyotes in all likelihood there. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Microsoft and Meta Platforms drove Wall Street higher after delivering profits for the start of the year that were even bigger than analysts expected. The S&P 500 rose 0.6 Thursday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added 0.2%, and the Nasdaq Composite added 1.5%. Countries across the Middle East and North Africa face significant challenges to economic growth as the region faces economic uncertainty due to tariff measures, lower than recent oil prices, and cuts to financial aid. That's according to the International Monetary Fund. Tesla chair Robin Denholm denied a Wall Street Journal report that said the board members had reached out to several executive search firms to find a replacement for CEO Elon Musk. Denholm called the report absolutely false. Kohl's has fired CEO Ashley Buchanan after an investigation found he told the company to enter into 2 business deals involving a romantic partner. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Some wounds need expert care to heal properly. At Artesia General Hospital's Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine Center, we use advanced treatments like hyperbaric oxygen therapy to help chronic wounds heal faster. If you or a loved one has a wound that won't heal, call 575-736-8235 today and take the first step toward recovery.
Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. That's a lyric from a well-known kids song. Along with Jesus Loves Me, This I Know, they are probably the first 2 songs many of us learned, especially if we started our life in church. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that fewer and fewer of our children today learn those songs or truly understand that Jesus loves them and that He continues to love them for their entire lives, no matter where they find themselves or no matter what they do. Wouldn't our world be a better place if every child were taught the love of God for them? When Jesus was asked what the most important commandment was, He stated that the first was love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. If we teach the children in our lives those 2 valuable lessons, along with how God loves them, they will have a great foundation for a good life.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell. Are you ready to succeed? The School of Arts and Sciences at ENMU Roswell covers a broad curriculum. The certificates and degrees offered within these programs will prepare students to realize personal, professional, and occupational objectives, from ag science and agricultural technology to behavioral science, biology, bookkeeping and accounting, business administration, criminal justice, education, and mathematics. ENMU Roswell can set you up for success. Register now on campus or online at roswell.enmu.edu. Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Success starts here.
The great one, Mark Levin, is now in Roswell on 106.5 KEND Roswell.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. America's employers continued to grow their payrolls last month. The government reports they hired 177,000 people in April, a better showing than analysts had been expecting. Jobs added in the fields of healthcare, financial services, and transportation, among others. The unemployment rate unchanged, 4.2%. Wall Street futures moving even higher in light of the strong jobs report. Unless you want to donate, an executive order from President Trump means you'll no longer be funding public broadcasting.
The order instructs the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and other federal agencies to, quote, cease federal funding for NPR and PBS, close quote, and further requires that they work to root out indirect sources of public financing for the news organizations. The White House, in a social media post announcing the signing, said the outlets, quote, receive millions from taxpayers to spread radical, woke propaganda disguised as news. The broadcasters get roughly $500 million in public money through the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and have been preparing for the possibility of stiff cuts since Trump's election, as Republicans have long complained about them. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Israel uses its big stick in defense of a persecuted religious minority in Syria.
Israel's Air Force has struck near Syria's presidential palace in Damascus. The strike comes after they warned Syrian authorities not to march toward villages inhabited by members of a minority sect in southern Syria. The Israeli army has said that fighter jets struck adjacent to the area of the palace of President Ahmad al-Sharaa. Pro-government Syrian media outlets have said the strike hit close to the palace on a hill overlooking the city. The strike comes after days of clashes between pro-Syrian government gunmen and fighters who belong to the Druze minority sect near the capital. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Israel Katz have said the strike was a message to Syrian leaders. I'm Lawrence Brooks.
Dow futures up 368 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
California, here we come.
California's population is bouncing back after a COVID-era dip, increasing for the second year in a row. According to a new report by the Department of Finance, the state grew by approximately 108,000 people in 2024 to a total of just over 39.5 million residents. The increase is due in part to births outpacing deaths and a boost in the number of adults 65 and older. In a statement, Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom says the continued growth is a sign of the state's robust economy and a vote of confidence. People from across the nation and the globe are coming to the Golden State to pursue the California dream, Newsom says, where rights are protected and people are respected. I'm Jennifer King.
A Soviet-era spacecraft meant to land on Venus back in the 70s but never made it, expected to soon plunge uncontrolled back to Earth. Too early to say where the half-ton mass of metal might come down or how much will survive re-entry. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. What a way to celebrate a birthday. In this case, it's two for the price of one.
The U.S. Army has been planning a 250th birthday festival on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. for June 14th, which just happens to coincide with President Trump's 79th birthday. The large parade is a newly added element, one that Trump has long wanted. He said this in 2017 after seeing France's Bastille Day parade.
It was really a beautiful thing to see. They had representatives from different wars and different uniforms. It was really so well done.
Then Thomas Washington.
That man who fell from the 21-foot-high Clemente Wall, right field at PNC Park in Pittsburgh during a game between the Pirates and the Chicago Cubs, remains hospitalized in critical condition. Pittsburgh Public Safety posting on X that the incident is being treated as accidental in nature. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel wish and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
They call it the Deuce.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Friday. We made it.
Yes.
Welcome to it. The weekend is almost upon us.
Oh.
Get ready for it.
Say it again.
The weekend is almost upon us. Yes.
The long, slow exhale that is the final day before the weekend.
Right.
The death rattle, as they call it.
Yeah. I wonder, like, when I was a child, you could not turn on the radio on a Friday at 8 in the morning and not hear working for the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what, though? We had a couple. Okay, so there's There was that one.
Yeah.
But I also grew up in Oklahoma. We had a lot of country ones.
Uh-huh.
There was one they always played Friday at 5 o'clock during the 5 o'clock drive. And it was, bow now, now, now. It's quitting time. Bow now, now, now. It's quitting time. Time to disassemble this assembly line. Well, I love punching out like I hate punching in. Yeah, there's that one. There was, what was it? Oh, I don't want to work. I just want to bang on the drum all day.
Yep, that was another one.
Those are great, just Friday songs. But yeah, I loved working for the weekend, man.
Yeah, there was a minute where like every morning zoo, it's Friday.
I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that remember the golden age of Zoo Crew radio shows in the morning. 4 people just sitting in a room waiting for their time.
That's right. It's your morning zoo. Coming up at 7:50, it's Honk for Cash.
That being said, I am trying to build up some promotions around here so we can kind of get some of that going. I mean, I know that we're like the retirement home of the Zoo Crew morning show, but you know, you got to inject a little silliness into it. And that's where I cut my teeth, man. You know, that's
I mean, that's where we
even. What's funny is even like because we ran a morning show on a heavy metal radio station, and we still had a Zoo Crew morning show.
Did.
Me, you, and Casey
We did.
all crammed into one room.
So many things were done in that room.
Horrific stunts.
Sean ate and exposed himself to so many things in that room.
I proposed to my kid's mom in that room.
Did? He ate a bowl of dog food?
I did. Hands free.
Attempted to drink a gallon of eggnog?
Yes. Also attempted to, if I remember correctly, eat an entire box of, was it Fruity Pebbles?
Something like that.
Because I remember it was something I specifically picked out because I knew.
I think it was Fruity Pebbles.
I knew that the after effect would be Technicolorful.
Right.
So
yeah, you planned for your demise on that one.
You know.
And that was just in that room. I
Yeah.
mean, there were other things outside
Never mind
that room.
the barrel.
Yeah.
You remember your foam barrel?
Oh, yeah, the whole foam barrel
Yeah.
thing and making
My buddy Eric, we taped him to the. We duct taped him to the. So for those of you out there who have visited the Oasis dispensary here in town, right next door to that is our old building. The
Yes,
next
on 2nd Street, right across from Monterey
Yep.
Shopping Plaza there.
And there's a big billboard that's been whited out, but if you look really closely, you can still kind of make out the Saw Blade logo from the old
Mix
Mix 106.
logo, yeah.
But we put, we duct taped him to that sign, if I remember correctly.
He also had to walk up and down the median there.
Yeah,
if I
with
remember
a
right.
sandwich board, I think it was. That
Yeah.
said like, I ripped the barrel or I.
Yeah, it was all because someone saboteured one of my things I have, and because I'm one of those, I gotta have hands.
To this day,
Yeah.
I mean, we're
I'm just that, and so
creatures of
back in those days, like somebody gave me one of the that's when stress balls were popular to give away. And I got like an oil barrel from like Southwest Oil or something. It was just one of these things that sat in there, and I all show would play with it, hold it. You know, it was just my.
Just give you something to do with it. It's the same thing we do with the pen. You know, we always have to have a pen in our hands.
And so we did the morning
fidgets.
show there. Which Sean also did an afternoon drive show, and you know he'd have like his friend Eric hang out sometimes, and they kind of riff and do a show. And I guess during that show, Eric had started playing with my barrel and ripped it, and then I came in. Literally, like one day, walking into the studio with like the barrel in 2 pieces, almost like someone was sending me a message, and I just ran with it on the radio.
Yeah.
We turned it into a whole thing.
It was a whole bit. That was a fun.
It's like a sandwich board. I remember
a fun couple of days.
I remember we had like some trial or something on the radio.
Yeah.
And I was the judge.
He had representation. I think I was his legal counsel. Yeah.
Because I remember quoting Tombstone. The scene where I think Ike Clanner, one of them was about to be judged, and he goes, and the judge said something to the effect of, "There's a lot of great people in this world. You are not one of them." Something like that.
It's pretty good. I remember the line that I remember for some reason that sticks out in my head is that barrel should be placed upon a pedestal with like a display case and lights.
I remember saying that. Yeah, I do remember that. Oh, gosh, I wish, man, that was back in the day, all long lost stuff.
Here's Megadeth.
Yeah. Which may or may not have cuss words because I don't know how long it's been in here.
God. I can't. The look on when all of the blood left my face when we were playing OTEP Blood Pigs.
Yeah.
There's some choice words in that song, and I'm in the studio and I hear them going out over the radio, and I'm just like, oh no.
Well, and here's this is the old school. Pulling back the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
When I started at Mix 106, I started a couple months before Sean did, and it was shoestring radio, baby, big time. You think we're doing shoestring? This was way shoestring, and literally shoestring. But we did the I've told the Mike Winter story. That's how all that started, was that shoestring radio back then. But
put it this way, our sound guy was deaf.
She hired basically kids, and quite frankly, not the highest societies of kids. Kids who were, burnouts, things like that.
Folks who would take what they took.
People that typically work at a radio station. But anyway, so they had a bunch of kids that worked there prior, and I came in, and they kind of threw me to the wolves and all this. But I'm like going through, and that's, part of being at a radio station, especially in a smaller market. I mean, if we were in Dallas or something, that's one thing. But you kind of wear a lot of hats in a radio station at this level. You're putting the music in, you're building the commercials, you're doing it. You go work in L.A. or D.C. or New York or Dallas or something, you're the morning show guy, you're the morning show guy. You're not in there hacking commercials and doing, you're cutting stuff, but you're not programming.
Oh, dude, I used to get so jealous when I hear like O&A talk about it. They go in for 4 hours, they cut a couple of live reads afterwards, and then they go home.
Right.
Like, what?
Right. So,
what's that like?
So, you have to do all that stuff. And I remember that those guys clearly were just burning CDs into there and not saying, oh, some of these are explicit. Back when Dole, they had to put all the explicit lyrics on the things. All these had that on there. And I would be, like there was Tool songs. Like, the song Learn to Swim?
Yeah.
That was on there. I don't know if y'all know that song.
That song.
Every other word in that song is F-bomb.
Yeah, it's rife with them.
And I'm like, how do you play this on the radio? But so there was a grace period where I was editing and weeding those out, but there was a few every once in a while. Hey, and here's OTEP, and I'm like, oh my god.
This is where I learned the fancy technique of in our editing software of highlighting the curse and reversing it.
Yes, that was your move.
Ish became very common.
Yeah.
Auf was another big one.
Yep.
Auf.
But that was kind of rebel radio back in the days.
The pirate days.
Yeah. So, well, we're gonna go from rebel radio to the laws of justice.
The long arm of the
law. Charles East, as Undersheriff for the Chatham County Sheriff's Department, going to join us here in just a few. Give us an update. I know that they got a big cleanup tomorrow at Memory Lawn. He's probably gonna do a plug for that while we're talking. But just get an update on what's going on in the Sheriff's Department from Charles. Later on the hour, we'll get you up to date with the news of the local variety, Wall Street business update, and whatever else we can come up with for today's show too. But first, the weather, which I ain't gonna lie, I don't know what it's going to do today. It looks like rain, feels like rain. The weather says it's not going to rain till Sunday. So you figure it out, because I have no idea.
Weather this hour brought to you by Southwest Bearing under new ownership. Custom solutions for your heavy equipment. Hydraulic hoses, hose repair, bearings, seals, sprockets, belts, tools, fluids, and fittings.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A shower or two possible later on today with a low-pressure system and stationary front nearby. A little bit of sunshine, though, and we'll be in the mid-70s, and it will be a little bit gusty. A few showers possible overnight, down to 50. Sunshine for the most part on Saturday, but we still do have a chance of an afternoon shower. We'll be in the upper 70s. Scattered showers on Sunday, and 80. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 58 and breezy here in Roswell. Mostly cloudy and breezy. I should give you the whole descriptor they gave me. Humidity is at 67%. Winds are blowing out of the north, 23, gusting to 31. Now, Charles gave a report. It's sprinkling now. Our meteorologist says there's chances of rain. The National Weather Service says it's not going to rain here till Sunday. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm just reading what they say. Don't shoot the messenger. Cloudy today, gradually becoming sunny. High of 68. So it is going to be cool today. And it says winds 10 to 15, as it is currently 23, gusting to 31. Tonight, mostly cloudy. See what I'm saying? I don't know. It's like someone said, this is Roswell, Georgia's weather forecast. Mostly cloudy, and I double-checked. This says Roswell, New Mexico. Roswell International Air Center. It's the airport. So tonight, mostly cloudy. Overnight low of 49. East winds 10 to 15 early, 5 to 10 after midnight. Sunny tomorrow and 76. South winds 5 to 10 early, 10 to 15 for the afternoon. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy. Overnight low of 50. And then we got the rain chances. Like Sunday, like it's been shifting. I guess it's a big front, maybe, and I'm not a meteorologist, so I'm just guessing like everybody else, but I'm guessing it's like there's like a big front coming through, and I guess it's slower moving than they thought, so it's like, oh, it's supposed to be here yesterday. It's coming tomorrow now. But anyway, Sunday is what they're saying. We're looking at a 50% chance at showers on Sunday. Partly cloudy, high of 77, south winds 10 to 15 early, 15 to 20 for the afternoon. Sunday night, we're looking at a 50% chance of rain, mostly cloudy, 54. Monday, a 40% chance of rain, sunny and 79, 40% Monday night. Tuesday, no talk of rain, but Wednesday, a 30% chance of rain and a 20% on Thursday as well, too. So what does that mean? I don't know. You guess you could do none of the above. It's welcome to New Mexico. All right, 8:18, we're going to take a 2.5-minute break. Charles Eastlis from the Chaves County Sheriff's Department will join us on the other side. Don't go away.
Injury, surgery, or illness can set you back, but you don't have to recover alone. At Artesia General Hospital, our rehabilitation services team provides physical, occupational, and speech therapy to help you regain strength, mobility, and confidence. Take the next step toward recovery. Call 575-736-8174 today to schedule an appointment and get back to living life to the fullest.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and want out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our aggressive finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners, Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new loan. Subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires in 1 cent.
Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. That's a lyric from a well-known kids song. Along with Jesus Loves Me, This I Know, they are probably the first two songs many of us learned, especially if we started our life in church. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that fewer and fewer of our children today learn those songs or truly understand that Jesus loves them and that he continues to love them for their entire lives, no matter where they find themselves or no matter what they do. Wouldn't our world be a better place if every child were taught the love of God for them? When Jesus was asked what the most important commandment was, he stated that the first was love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. If we teach the children in our lives those two valuable lessons, along with how God loves them, they will have a great foundation for a good life.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The ball on top of a flagpole is called a truck. Mess with your friends today by pointing at a flagpole and say, "Hey, check out the truck on top of that flagpole." Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Chaves County Sheriff's Department, Under Sheriff Charles Eastlis back with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, doing good. How about yourself?
Outstanding.
I know you're
enjoying the weather this morning.
You're officially the man that runs around like a chicken with his head cut off.
I
pretty
am
much
that
at 37 places at the same time, or tries to be.
Yeah, it seems like we just saw each other last night about 9 o'clock
well, that's what's funny,
at a meeting.
Yeah, we had our American Legion meeting on Thursday, and we do our thing, and Charles is kind of, but he had like another meeting prior to that meeting, and so he's like, and so we're literally wrapping up. He's like, I'm ready, and we're like, we just finished.
Yeah.
But
okay, I'm headed off.
That's life in the Charles household. I'm
It
pretty
is.
sure.
It is. Yeah, running on caffeine.
Absolutely, but that's but that's because you guys are just out and about. You're always in and this is the kind of the thing that when you're always on, it's the community stuff.
Yes.
And about and this is something I know. And Sheriff, you guys, this is your bread and butter. This is like, look, yes, our day-to-day job is to serve and protect and make sure bad guys go to jail and things happen and all this stuff. But you're always out. Okay, guess what? Hey, we're hanging out at this meeting for these folks here today, or this, and it's all community-driven events and stuff.
Community policing is the bread and butter and the concrete to everything.
So he's pretty much up from sun up, sundown doing, when he's not doing cop stuff, doing.
And this kind of stuff is, in my opinion, is all cop stuff because community relations and community policing is key. Without the community, we wouldn't solve the crimes we have.
Absolutely.
And it's important to be on a first name basis, on a working relationship with them, a personal relationship with them. These are folks that we see every day in Walmart and things like that.
We're not Dallas, Texas. We're not New York City. We're a pretty big town, but a small town feel, and everybody knows everybody.
Exactly.
Everybody talks, and everybody's in everybody's business.
Yes,
and
exactly. And it goes back to, if you're not a people person, don't do a people person job. This is a people person job. Community policing 101. And when we talk about doing these types of things, there's a reason why it says to protect and serve.
Yeah.
The service is just as important as the protection.
Right. Well, and that's
the
thing with law enforcement is if you ask, I'm going to say the average just person, say what's the job of the cop, and it's like to arrest people, throw them in jail, and everything. But and to be honest, that's 1/10 of the job.
That's right.
Most of the time, you're a mentor, a psychiatrist, a mom, a dad.
Well, exactly, yeah. A counselor,
counselor,
vice principal.
Yeah. The doler of the punishment is like one sliver of it. Most of it is, and that's the thing is people forget, whenever a police officer, and I don't care if it's the sheriff's department, RPD, state police, whoever, rolls up on a scene, they're trying to solve the situation with the path of least resistance every single time. They don't want to send anybody to jail. They don't want to do any of that stuff.
That's right.
The only people that are going to jail are people who are doing things and saying things that are preventing this situation from being resolved.
That's right. That's exactly right. And there's sometimes people say, "Oh, thank goodness for crime, or you guys would be out of a job." No, we wouldn't, because we serve the public, and that's what we do. And when we're not chasing criminals 24/7. We're serving the public 24/7 and chasing criminals in between that.
Yeah.
So it's one of those types of things. And
99% of these incidents we see that end up as TikTok videos are all heat of the moment, emotional. People go in guns blazing, and the cops have to go in and de-escalate that.
That's
and
right.
Sometimes it's not, all right, calm down, everybody. Sometimes you've got to hit someone to calm things down for a minute. What are you doing? Boom, knock them down.
Sure.
Now that they're not a threat to themselves or others, we can talk.
Exactly.
But
and there's a time for that, and we'd much rather, and as we get older, you and I joke about our age a little bit, but as we get older, much rather talk than fight.
Yeah.
Those days are.
I mean, it's. I'm going to clean it up to a point, but it's the old bull joke. If you remember, it's
I
like
do.
The young bull, the old bull, and all the young cows down the hill.
That's right.
And the young bull runs down, and he's like, "Why?" He's like, "No, I'm going to do them all." And you figure out the rest of the story, but that's the point of it here.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Slow down, pay attention to what's going on, take in everything rather than just run in to the situation.
Yeah.
And that's the key. And by doing the community policing and by being a part of the community, the chances of us knowing somebody when we go on a call are very great.
Yeah.
And if you can call somebody by
or
their
you don't
first
know them
name
directly, you know someone that knows them. Yeah.
Sure. And
you're
if you can,
so-and-so's cousin.
when they're upset and they're bouncing all over the place, sometimes Steve or whatever, if you call them by their first name or whatever, it will oftentimes stop, look, say, what's going on?
Yeah.
And now you're on a personal level with them.
Yeah.
You can still maintain that security. You can still maintain that bladed stance.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we do and everything that we're taught. You still have officer safety, but
Absolutely.
the best weapon you have is your mouth.
When people
you're
know
able
people,
to talk.
Yeah.
That's right, your voice. And
it's no different than you look at how you yourself, people listening, how do you treat and talk to people you know versus total strangers?
Right.
It's a night and day difference. Same
Right.
here. And
Yes.
you're just giving it an event. And this is kind of why, I mean, obviously law enforcement, they'll take, wherever people come from that want to serve and protect, they're going
Yes.
to do it. But this is why entities like the Sheriff's Department and
Yes.
RPD and state police, for that matter, are saying we love people that are here from New Mexico, from Chavez
Sure.
County, from Roswell, New Mexico, because you know why? Because you probably went to high school with some of these people.
Exactly.
You probably knew some of these people. And the thing that you're talking
That's
about,
right.
it's a lot easier when you were born and raised here. And I'm
That's
not
right.
saying, great, you come from Michigan or wherever, and awesome. But there is an advantage to being raised in the place that you're now serving and protecting.
And if you weren't, get out,
Yeah.
meet and greet, get to know people, let people get to know you, and then build those relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're not, like you said, we're not Dallas, we're not these huge cities.
Yeah.
You're going to see the same person sometimes 2 or 3 times a day.
Absolutely.
If you're out and about.
So
it's, hey, how's it going? We're at Walmart. Oh, hey, how's it going? At the grocery store. Whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You're going to run into the same person sometimes.
And that's usually when you have the other thing, when like the thing goes down with the neighbors or something
Right.
later. And it's like, hey, Bob, what's going on? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
we're just and that's where
it comes in.
Instead of guns blazing, everyone's mad. Everyone's like, oh, there's Charles or there's Deputy so and so.
Sure.
I know. And all right, I can at least talk to this person, and they're gonna They're gonna already be de-escalated a little bit because they're like, all right, they already know your character. They already know how you're gonna come and handle this, and that is the best tool in a tool bag for sometimes for these law enforcement officers. So, that being said, recruitment. If you're here local, law enforcement, please. Sheriff's Department is always looking for qualified folks to be in, and even when they say they're quote unquote full, they're always. Because the roster changes constantly.
It does.
And so you need to keep, and unfortunately, the work and the nature of the job never decreases in workload. It always is.
We're ever
same or up.
evolving, evolving with the times.
Yeah.
They say when did Andy Griffith become this battle-driven, with the helmet and everything?
Sure.
Well, when Otis became this guy, the active killer or whatever.
Exactly. When the criminals stopped walking themselves into the thing on Friday night.
Exactly. Otis quit bringing himself into jail and all that.
More of a lease place, I think, than it was more like a crash
that was
pad.
Fantasy land. Exactly. Yeah, no rent.
Don't get me started on Floyd the Barber.
That's it. Yeah. I don't know if he even had a house.
Yeah.
He was just always cutting hair.
And he was a creepy dude. Just saying, the way he talked.
Was. Yeah.
He seemed like you never mind. So that's another story for another
he
time.
was a different kind of character.
Floyd was an odd dude.
Yeah,
but anyway.
he was.
But this is kind of transitioning to kind of what we're talking about for tomorrow too.
Absolutely.
Where this is and this is why that relationship and for the new folks, like people that weren't born and raised here.
Right.
Being a part of things like tomorrow, and this is why you guys do this. It's like, hey, come meet our deputies while we're out here.
Yes.
Serving the community in a different fashion here, not necessarily with a badge on, but with gloves and jeans and some work clothes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And so,
I promise you, we have regular clothes also. I get all this. I didn't recognize you out of your uniform.
That's right.
Well,
You're not behind the badge
it's exactly, yeah.
But one of the things that, and this is cool, with our American Legion stuff, you guys have been, we as American Legion Post for Post 61 have. Adopted, kind of took over the memory law and stuff.
Yes.
And we all know there's a history of just a lot of just bad stuff and disrepair and things. And we're still to this day, it's not nowhere near where it needs to be.
Exactly.
But
we're working.
It takes a lot of money and a lot of effort, but it's one bite at a time. And this is kind of what's going on. And you're kind of doing one bite at a time and have been organizing cleanups. And we got a big one that you've organized for tomorrow.
Yes. Tomorrow morning, we're going to meet about 9:30 tomorrow at Memory Lawn on 19th Street. Come out. Even if you just come out to support what we're doing, if you want to bring a case of water, whatever the case may be, or you don't have to have the tools. We've got plenty of tools. That's right.
Yeah, if there's a little bit of work you can do, we'll find that.
Yes.
But if you want to get in the dirt and start moving stuff around and all that, we got those jobs.
We'll have Chavez County Community Service will be out there tomorrow. and they're bringing tools and a van and a trailer, and it's one of those things that it doesn't matter how it got that way. Let's get it to where it needs to be.
Absolutely.
Instead of griping about, oh man, look at this and look at that, and just driving by it, let's change it.
And this is something too, and this is where the community really needs to know, understand this. And this is kind of something I'm learning as we as a American Legion are getting into the cemetery business all of a sudden. You know what I mean? There's different rules, different things, and stuff like that. And so, and this is part of what the problem is out there is when you see those sunken graves and those headstones and stuff that need to be repaired and upkeep. As cemetery owners, we're not really allowed to touch or mess with that stuff because it's family property.
Exactly.
The family got it. It's on. If we break that tombstone, then it's on us to do all that. And it's same. And so anything that's done to that, and if it's not done to the families, they can. We're on the hook for that.
Sure.
So if you're a family member that has family out there and you know about it, you're gonna have to come out and
or at least give me a call.
At least talk to us and say, hey, we don't mind you doing this because. Because if we have to, tombstones need to be moved or whatever, we can't be doing that stuff because it's not technically ours to do.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the problem out there too. So
and we have
this is a bigger community effort. Yes, we all want to go out there and chip, but if you have family that's
please get in contact
there,
with us.
We really need because we need to get those folks back in there and say, hey, we got to do. Yes, this grave is sunk. We need to do something about it, but we're not allowed to touch it because of the rules.
Yep. And we were very fortunate whenever we did it the first time that I had a lot of contact from the family and telling us, hey, this is where and a lot of times the family lives in other places, and I understand that.
Sure, yeah,
but
it happens.
You can get a hold of me, either email or call me. We're on the Chaves County website, and they would say, well, how does it look? And I would tell them it's sunk or this and that, and can we move it? Oh, absolutely, please, please do. And it becomes almost a safety issue as well, because if we don't do something and somebody's walking out to one of theirs,
it's a catch-22.
It is. It really is. So I had a lot of calls, and so we were able to fill a lot of those and level a lot of them. There are still some that need to be done. I have a couple of those on my list of the family that have called me. So again, if you're not able to make it out there, at least drop us a line.
Sure.
Let us know that they're out there, and we'll be happy to.
And here's what, just to give a picture to some folks here, and to be honest, if you would have looked at this place a couple years ago versus now, it is night and day different.
It is.
But that being said, when we kind of got officially involved in this stuff, there's a bit of. I mean, this isn't just about running a cemetery. There's almost a bit of archaeology type stuff in there because we're finding graves that people are like, we didn't know those were there.
They were even there, exactly.
And so it's a bit of hidden mystery, mysteries going on out there.
I didn't realize how far back some of these went.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some from the 1800s out there. And you're out there cleaning up, or I was out there cleaning up, and I look over, and then all of a sudden I find myself just standing there kind of reading and then going around and comparing, seeing, I must be in the older part of it. And so I'm, it's very interesting. It really is.
It is. It's a lot of that too. So I'm going to even throw the stab. If you're a history buff and love nostalgia, come out and just, yes, maybe do a little raking and stuff, but come read the tombstones, the headstones, and the things that are there.
That's right.
It's Roswell history right there in front of you.
That's right.
And it's amazing, cool. And while we're doing a plug out here for Memory Lawn, in a few weeks with Memorial Day weekend and all that, on Memorial Day, we will be doing a Memorial Day simple service out there, I believe at like 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
As we get closer to it, we'll talk about it. We are still looking for a guest speaker for that, by the way. Any veterans that want to guest speak at that, we're looking at. But we'll be out there, Memory Lawn. And matter of fact, the Friday before, and as we get a little closer, we'll get times enough. We're gonna be seeking volunteers to come and put flags on all the graves of the veterans. I believe they'll do it that Saturday.
It's going to be that Saturday. I talked to Commander Lee last night, and so we'll be there for that as well.
Absolutely. So we want to invite the public.
We want to invite
everybody. So come out tomorrow for the cleanup, but
that's right.
We want to make
and we'll
back
give you the
here.
information about the next one.
We're trying, and this is the thing. We're trying to be more, and as we do more things and more activities, like one thing that, and I don't know, again, we're still planning and plotting, but one of the things we definitely want to do out there is put, and I'm sorry I don't know the proper term of them, but it's basically those little mausoleum deals, like the walls that they put urns and things in. I don't know the proper term off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but basically build some of those out there too, and as a way, again, we're trying to, and here's the other thing too.
It's only what we make it.
Yeah. Part of the thing is, and this is the big, we need a couple 100,000 for irrigation stuff out there. And once that is done, that's when it's going to start looking like a cemetery. You're going to water it, cut it, and
right now,
make
you know,
it not a weed
the
patch.
watering lines are on above ground, and you have to watch out for them. And you know, it doesn't look great, but it's a start.
Absolutely.
And you know, what you allow is what will continue.
Like,
that's a very common saying, and so we're not going to allow it anymore.
Yeah.
We're gonna
like Endgame
be proud of it
here,
Yeah.
where there were like big, like we'd like to put a big Gold Star Memorial out there, or the big thing. You know, we want to make it a place for, of course, all Roswell, but definitely with veterans. You know, spotlighting those veterans that are calling that place home and will in the future. Here.
That's exactly right. And the last thing we want to do is forget about anybody. They've passed, but we always say they're past but not forgotten. Well, that is our responsibility to not forget. And this is part of the responsibility is to make sure that their permanent home is upkept, because they can't do it, obviously.
This is why we do Memorial Day services.
That's why we do what we do.
Veterans Day assembly out here.
That's
this
right.
Is, for that matter, 4th of July,
That's
everything
right.
else. That's what we as Americans are and what we as Americans do.
And it goes back to that. You can either drive by or walk by that piece of trash that's sitting right there and say, "Oh my gosh, look at the trash," or you can just stop, pick it up, throw it in the trash can.
And that's the internet.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the internet is really a bunch of people taking pictures of trash. I mean, it's and saying, "Look at this here."
Everybody wants to be
instead of being you're right there,
Facebook
pick
famous
it up.
or whatever the case may be, and it's it's one of those things where and I shared a post here recently where it was a meme and the Titanic is sinking in the background and Jack and what's her name? They're sitting there taking a selfie, and I said, and that hit. I just busted out laughing because it's
it's funny you mention that, because now that we're in the world of AI, and so there's just like the internet before, where there's always the different memes that make their rounds and all that. Now it's the AI ones, and and that's a big thing for a minute there, where they're basically taking famous people in history and doing the selfie. And I saw like Genghis Khan. I saw, I've seen them all, and it's
hilarious.
Kind of funny. I saw the Titanic one, but there's about 20, 30 different ones.
Then you see these that, oh my gosh, there's a tsunami going on in Oklahoma? What? What is this?
I think I saw one with like George Washington crossing the Delaware on the boat.
So, everything it goes back to that. Don't believe everything you read. Well, don't believe everything you see now with AI.
That's the previous meme. Not everything you read on the internet is true. That's an Abraham Lincoln quote.
That's exactly right. Yes. And then people will actually stop and say, "When did the internet come out?"
Right?
Exactly.
But that's what we're talking about. But getting back to memory lawn, we love and bring families. We love when families come out and the kids
bring anybody
come out
that's not doing something.
Especially Memorial Day, that Saturday when we do the flags. But come on out, like I said, bring your gloves if you got rakes and shovels and hose and various weed eaters, things like that, gas trimmers, things like that. That would be very useful. But bring yourself if nothing else.
Exactly.
And we'll do stuff and like what time are you going to get? Sorry, what time are you going to be starting?
9:30.
9:30.
And we're shooting for give or take 9:30 to about 2:00. We have to put a cap on it. I know that it's Saturday and people have things to do and everything. But
we kind of got blessed with weather. I mean,
yes, it's supposed to be.
I'll take 70s over 90s or whatever.
I think the high is 68 tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the wind is.
According to the National Weather Service, it says it won't rain tomorrow. The high is 76.
That means it's going to be 65 and drizzly. So we appreciate that. That's the way it goes, right? We're here in Roswell, where you can have all 4 seasons in an hour.
So weather permitting, everything will go on at 9:30
That's right.
here.
That's right.
But if this says, you know what, it's 10:30, we're going to start raining, then we'll act accordingly.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, exactly.
And also be known, this is the first of many. Like, if you can't make tomorrow, understand, short notice.
We're doing it again.
We're going to be doing more of these, and you can get in. If nothing else, come out Memorial Day and a few weeks from now here, and we'll start from there for you. But
I have a master calendar that has all these different events on it that we've plugged in the dates. We're now putting dates together for September, October, not just for the cemeteries, but for other events and other things that we have.
Oh yeah.
So if you can't make it tomorrow, that's fine. We'll have another one. Just watch the Facebook.
Sure.
Watch
Spread the word if you can't. If you
Mike
can't
in the
make it
morning,
tomorrow,
we'll be out here. And
share it with your friends and
Sure.
stuff. Say, hey, there's going to be a bunch of people cleaning up memory lawn
That's
at
right.
9:30 tomorrow. If you got time, come
That's
on out
right.
there and be a part of it.
Yes, and
it's a many-hand situation.
Exactly.
We get more people out there, we'll get this thing knocked out quicker than it's just because we all know this ain't right. It's got to be fixed.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, there's a lot bigger fish to fry in the world
There
right
is.
now. And so its priority is not as big as other things. But that doesn't mean we don't have a lack of care or passion for this.
That's exactly right. We
And
understand things that have to be done now versus things that we can put on the back burner.
Yeah.
This is one of those that's right in the middle. We understand that other things are going on, but when they're not going on, we need to tackle this, because if we get behind again, it's and I say again, everyone drives by or looks at something, not just that, but looks at something, and if it doesn't look right, they human nature is to find somebody to blame for it.
Sure.
Well, the reality is in this situation, that is a self-care cemetery. And that's one of those things. And families, I understand. Families, they'll bury their loved ones, and then families dissipate. They move, things happen, or whatever the case may be, or everybody in that family is deceased.
Absolutely.
And so,
so it's really been years, and then there's been research over the years, but the same thing happens. Families move on, life happens, and then it gets left undone.
One of my best friends is buried out there, and it was very disheartening for me. And this is kind of what sparked it even more for me.
That was your personal trigger.
I couldn't find his headstone, and because of the overgrowth and everything, and it really
made you mad.
Really it affected me. Yeah, and I thought this is, and I thought, well, if I feel this way, who else does? I'm sure other people do, and it's disheartening.
It is because especially like when you talk about friends and stuff you grew up with, people that at one point in time in your life was probably a ride or die situation.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it is hard, and unfortunately, that's one of many stories out there.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we're trying to fix. Unfortunately, this ain't going to be swoop in, and here comes I'm going to use a that half the audience knows. Like Ryan Reynolds sweeping into Wrexham, going in there and turning a football club into now this. It ain't going to happen like that.
Not overnight.
We ain't got a celebrity coming in with $1 billion to say, I'm going to fix this. It's going to be
if
us.
you are a celebrity out there that has $1 billion,
we're not
please
going to turn you down.
Please go ahead and
send
Ryan
that Reynolds out there listening want to do that. But it's going to take us. And so
That's right.
And it starts by events like tomorrow.
That's right.
Coming out and rolling up your sleeves and start moving some rocks and pulling some weeds.
Yes, absolutely. Kind of so it's one of many, and again, even if you can't make tomorrow, give me a call, shoot me an email, and watch the Facebook, watch Mike in the Mornings. We're going to be back on here, and I'll be posting up anything that we're going to be doing in the future with it, and we're going to be working it around other events that we have.
And if you want to make a little challenge, come on with it. Bring your challenge your friends. Come on out.
Absolutely.
I saw you out there. Come on out too.
That's right.
Let's make this a fun thing. Let's turn this into a blessing.
It's only work if you make it work.
Yeah.
And that's with anything.
Turn something that is an eyesore to a pride of our community. That's what we want to do. And it's going to take us to do that.
Yeah. It's if you don't look at it as work, it's whatever you make it. People say, "Oh my gosh, you work every day." I said, "I don't work a day in my life. I love this job. I love what I do." And if I were stuck in a cubicle with no window, that would be hard. That'd be work, But this isn't work. This is.
And to me, it's also a testament of what you're leaving behind.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like if you're going out there with your families and stuff, especially if you're bringing your kids out there.
That's right.
And I'd like to think 20 years from now, when they're with their own families, they're coming out to memory lawn that looks a heck of a lot nicer than it does now, and say, "Hey, I remember when I was a kid.
Yes.
We were out here doing a part of this," and they take ownership in it.
Yeah, and if you don't have somebody out there, pay it forward. What that means is one day you're going to be somewhere, and just think of that, and hopefully somebody will stop by and clean up your resting place.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of it. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what it is here. So, shifting gears real quick, just want to make sure. Is there anything on the law enforcement front we want to let folks know? Any alerts? Any be on the lookouts we want to let folks know about?
We are still actively doing saturation patrols.
Okay.
DWIs they continue to be a problem, but it goes back to education and prevention. Much rather be out there and be seen or be in the community rather than hide behind the bush and wait for it to happen.
Sure.
Much rather be proactive than reactive.
Absolutely.
So with that, we continue to have calls as normal. We've dealt with some calls this week that were exhausting, and that's part of the business. When it comes to the law enforcement side, folks, I can't stress enough, do not race on the roadways. We're still having issues with people racing on the roadways, and we are still arresting people for that.
And it's in city limit. It's in populated because I live.
It's right here on Main Street.
Yeah, I live over by Eastern Hospital. I'm really a couple blocks from Main Street, couple blocks,
Yep.
And I'm telling you, every night around 10 o'clock at night, I'm hearing the revving. Those are racing engines. I'm not stupid. I know those are guys drag racing.
And you're waiting for the crash.
Yeah.
I
hear it almost every single night. Yeah.
And it's if they want to do that, make the arrangements, get out on one of these tracks and do whatever you're going to do. But when you do it, I promise you, if you kill somebody, you're going to be charged. And it's going to.
You can't walk it back.
No, and you're putting lives, not just your own, you're putting other people's lives at stake.
This is just like every 15 minutes, except it's not alcohol, it's drag racing.
That's right.
The only variable that's different is alcohol versus poor decision.
That's right.
I'm hoping sober.
Yes, and I want the public to know I will start posting pictures of those that are arrested for it. We arrested a couple this past, and I don't mean a couple like a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, but a couple of people, this last week. And if that is what keeps you from doing it, the fear of being put in the public, then don't do it.
I'm telling you right now, we have a great drag racing community that does it legally on the tracks and stuff out here.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm sure they'd love for more people to get out involved because it's a labor of love. Those people
a lot
work
of us
on that
are
track.
car guys,
And you know what? You get out there and work on the track a little bit with them on Tuesdays or wherever they do it, then you can race on Fridays and Saturdays out there
Exactly.
with them. And you can do it safely, legally, and you can open that bad boy up as much as you want, not have to worry about someone pulling out in front of you.
That's right. And I'll just give you a quick rundown. You decide to race on the roadways and we stop you, the sheriff's office stops you, you're not only going to be arrested, but now you're looking at being in jail until you're seen by a judge. You're looking at a tow bill because we will tow your vehicle. It's going to cost you in the pocketbook and some embarrassment to make that decision. So it's
not to mention, I bet they're friends and you know what I mean? There's people that are drag racing, they're probably boys, friends, and I mean, even if they're not, they know each other.
Sure.
And there's history, and they know families. And guess what? You're going to live the rest of your life dealing with that person's family in this thing and everything else. And
the person you might kill may be in the car with you.
And this is, and I know again this is different, but it's not. I mean, when I talk with Joey Lopez and the Every 15 Minutes, and if you're not familiar with that, it's a tragic story, but the families are doing a lot of good things to. They're phoenix from this, rising from that ashes. But that being said, that man I was talking to 5 years later, you could still see it in his heart.
It'll never go away.
That he is hurt and that he killed his best friend.
That's right.
And drag racing and stuff is the same thing. The only variable is you weren't drinking.
That's right.
And to be honest, I'm not even sure they could be drunk in drag racing.
Sure.
That's yes, well within the scope of
We've seen it. Yes, absolutely.
I'm just hoping they're only semi-dumb, not double dumb.
Not adding more fuel to the fire.
And I get it. These are 18, 20-year-old kids, and you and I, same mentality, same.
Yes.
We understand it. Trust me, we
Yes.
do. It will change when you get older. It does happen.
I never understood why my dad would say, "Son, I've been there. Please listen to me." Now I am telling people, please listen to me. We've been there.
Once you become a dad, and especially a law enforcement. I mean, unfortunately, you see this more than anybody else. And
it goes back to the pan is hot, don't touch it. Hot, and then you have to sometimes just let them touch it. That's hot. Oh yes, it is, isn't it? And so it's an eye opener.
It is so tough for the deputies and law enforcement to have to deal with the consequences of your decision, because that's at the end of the day, that's who's the one telling people that their loved one's dead? That's right. It's a law enforcement.
That's right.
And it's part of the job, but man, that's probably the hardest part of the job. I mean, I imagine of every aspect of law enforcement, the thing that probably every cop, you say, what do you hate the most? It's when I got to tell someone their loved one's not coming home.
Back when I was a detective, one of my tasks was I did 99.99% of the death notifications.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you it takes a toll. And it also affects you because you start to feel like you're the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
People don't want to see you come to their house.
Yeah,
People
they
don't want to
death
see
when
you
they
pull
see
up.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very disheartening. And that's not what we want. We want you to be happy that we're there, or whatever the case may be.
When
Not
they come there and your kid's in tow
That's
saying
right.
we caught him being stupid, but we
Right.
caught him before he did something really stupid.
or
Yeah.
unfortunately, here's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's and we stress it on texting and driving and drinking and
Yes.
driving, and please don't diminish any of that. But we need to put that same mindset on drag racing because
Absolutely.
again, it's the same id. It's just
That's right.
may or may not have been alcohol involved. It was young people making poor decisions. And trust me, if you want to
It was
keep
a
doing this,
dumb moment.
if you want to keep doing this, go talk to the drag racing committee. They're always looking for people to go in there, and it is a labor of love. They're always
That's right.
meticulously working on that track. It is their pride and joy.
That's right.
And so if you get involved with that community, guess what? You could be racing and doing, and you can turn the wrenches and open that thing up even more than you could have imagined on drag
That's right.
racing, and do it legally, safer, and And by the way, when they are racing, there's ambulances and medical people and stuff
That's
right on
right.
hand. So when those, sometimes you get in an accident or something.
Sure.
It happens. But anyway, it's
You have a higher probability of.
Yeah, it's a safe environment. It's doing it. It's like
That's right.
You want to play football? Great. Don't do it in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Do it on the football field. This is the same
Where they
deal.
have some professionals that can help you.
Yeah.
If a bone cracks or
Yeah.
breaks or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
That's right.
Don't do it on 285.
Yeah. Or in the parking lot of Walmart, whatever the case may be. That's
exactly.
right.
This is no different. Here
That's
on
right.
That stuff. So please.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I do want to remind folks is we are getting into graduation season.
Yes, we are.
Summer months. All of that. There is that uptick in hanging out, partying, drinking. I will tell you right now, law enforcement will be fully on watch.
In full watch.
For May and June and this summer.
That's
They are
right.
all the time, but they're going to be extra vigilant
That's right.
during this time. So when you see the DUI checkpoints and stuff, they will be. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you right now, cops are not idiots. If they see you drive up and turn around and go the other way,
we call that a clue. We call that a clue. That's right.
Methinks you don't think you're going to pass this checkpoint.
Yeah, especially when it's dark and we see the headlights just turn around and go through the bar ditch and come back up. We call that a clue, a strong clue.
So you can try your games, but they will catch you. Just the easiest thing is we're not telling you not to have fun and party, but
That's right.
be responsible. If you drink, have a way home that it doesn't involve you driving.
That's right.
However that is, friend gets you, Uber. There's usually during graduation these time of years, there's a lot
Yes.
of nonprofits that they'll set up nights where you just call.
Absolutely.
No questions asked. They'll pick you up and take you home. Find a plan, one way or the other, because the last thing you want to do is take it on yourself, or let
Plan
the
for
sheriff's
the
office
end of
department
the-
take you home because you're on
That's
the side
right.
of it, or not.
Plan
even
for
home
the
to do it.
end of the event, not just the beginning of it.
Absolutely, and this is why the every 50 minutes is so important and everything else. But I want to spread that message on to
Absolutely
people a little older because when it's that time of the year, you're
That's
young,
right.
the weather's warm, the lake's open. Let's go to the lake. Let's go drink
That's
at the
right.
lake. Let's go. I mean, that's what life is. That's America. That's what
Yes.
you're supposed to do.
Yes.
But what happens after the day's done, and that's what you got to
And we can't hammer that home enough. And it's it goes back to that here.
Yeah.
With a child.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. We have to, and if we have to say it 100 times, we'll continue to say it.
And now that marijuana is in the equation, that's another wrinkle in that thing.
It's another
and that's a different
impairment.
kind of impairment.
That's exactly right.
Because that one, people think they aren't. They're all right.
That's right.
I'm fine. I do it all the time, and it's like till you're not.
That's right. And,
it's
and people will say, well, I don't agree with marijuana, or I don't agree with alcohol, or I'll tell you right now, me personally, I will defend your rights for whatever is legal and whatever you choose to do, as long as you don't abuse it.
Right.
If you abuse it, I don't care if it's marijuana, I don't care if it's alcohol, I don't care if it's drag racing. If you abuse it, that's where we have to handle it.
Right.
That's right. But I will defend your constitutional rights to choose what you want to do.
It's the Spider-Man line all
That's
over
right.
again. With
exactly
these things
right.
come great responsibilities. Like
That's right.
We're going to empower you to do these things.
That's exactly
but
right.
the onus to be responsible with it is
That's
on
right.
you. And the moment you're not, then we're going to goon hand you and take care
Remember,
of it.
policies were created because somebody did it.
Yeah.
It's
and
real
that's,
simple.
And that's life. That's
right.
everything else. It's like, whether it's firearms, whether it's alcohol,
That's right.
whether it's marijuana,
Yes.
whatever it is, because, yes, you're a human being.
That's
you
right.
have the right to do what you want to do.
That's right.
Within reason.
That's exactly
as long
right.
as your rights don't infringe upon someone else's.
Yes, people will, I've had somebody say, well, I don't agree with that or this and that. And I said, absolutely, you're welcome. And they say, well, what do you mean I said, you're welcome. Because I will continue to defend your rights
Absolutely.
to have your opinion. Your opinion doesn't have to match my opinion.
And
that's just the nature
But and
of
this
it.
is also too, we talk about protests, we talk about
Yes.
things. It's like, yes, this is America.
That's right.
You're allowed to say things that, quite frankly, will offend somebody.
That's right.
As long as you just keep it to just saying it and don't doing something about it.
Yeah,
that's
I don't
the
like
thing.
hearing that.
Yeah.
Well, don't listen.
Yeah.
it goes
it's
both
when you
sides.
say I hate blank.
Yes.
And then you go out and start attacking and hurting blank.
Yes.
Then we got a problem.
Now it becomes a racially motivated or a gender specific or whatever the case may be attack. Then we've got a problem.
Yeah.
Now
that being said, be a good human and try to
Exactly.
evolve to be a good human. But it's not illegal to be racist. It's not illegal to be a jerk.
That's right. That's right. That is part of the freedoms that we have and we're afforded, and thank God we do.
Absolutely, because unfortunately, it's all perspective, and
That's right.
something that looks really bad, once you start peeling back layers, you're like,
That's right.
And that's, to be honest, not and
We saw that when the governor tried to shut down businesses
yeah.
here in COVID,
and this is
the sheriff and I said, we started driving around, and the sheriff started getting on there and writing letters and everything, and you cannot. We do not enforce policy other than our own.
Absolutely.
We enforce state law. If you want to have a state law mandating that people close or do these types of things, then you need to run it through the proper chains and run it through the House and everything. We're not gonna. We do not enforce. Just like I don't enforce RPD's policies and they don't enforce my policies. I don't enforce the governor's policies. I enforce the law.
Right.
And the freedoms that we are given. It to this day that still bothers me because some people didn't recover from that. They lost their businesses. And granted, I understand. People said, well, you're being a super spreader and this and that. Let me tell you, if those people were super spreaders and it worried you, don't go.
Well,
it's one of those things. It's just
and unfortunately, now that we've got a few years history behind it,
Yes.
we looked at like, wow, they
No
handled
kidding.
this poorly
Yes.
from the top down.
Exactly.
And we're
Exactly.
and this is
and hopefully we never have to use that as a learning
and
platform
that's what
for
created
another
the
one.
divisive part, because we had people that said you're killing everybody and this. You had really people that, and I get it. People want to follow the law and follow the letter of the law, and I get
That's
that.
right.
But this is humanity. There are times
right.
in our history where the law is unjust, or
That's
the
right.
law was ill-conceived.
Yep.
And this is those moments. And
that wasn't even a law.
Yeah.
That was her.
That was a mandate. Yeah.
Her mandate, which
that was
relates
martial
to a
law,
policy.
basically. Yeah.
That's right. And
I just saw the time. We got to go.
Oh, okay. Well, real quick, folks, if you're interested in law enforcement, contact us at the Chaves County Sheriff's Office.
Absolutely.
Next week is Corrections Week. I was asked to be the guest speaker out at RCC. I'm looking forward to doing that. Tomorrow morning, 9:30. If you're available, please come out to
Memory
the
Lawn
19th
Cemetery.
Memory Lawn. We'd
on
love
Main
to have
Street,
you.
turn on 19th Street.
Yes.
And just keep going until you hit Memory Lawn on
That's
your
right.
left there.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charles, and
All right.
we'll see you here in a couple, or
God
next week
bless.
actually here. So
Absolutely.
All right, it's 9 o'clock. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico, News in Progress.
The unemployment rate holding steady at 4.2%, according to the Labor Department. At every turn, it seems a judge somewhere is ready to thwart the president's plans to deport illegal aliens. In this case, a Trump-appointed jurist says the president cannot cite a wartime law to send some South Americans back home.
The federal judge ruled that the Trump administration exceeded the scope of an 18th century wartime law in using it to deport some Venezuelan migrants, and he's barring the administration from using it. Judge Fernando Rodriguez, who was appointed by the president in his first term, said using the Alien Enemies Act to detain and deport Venezuelan gang members was illegal because the gang's presence in the U.S. was not an invasion. Greg Clugston, the White House.
NPR and PBS may have to hold more of those on-air fundraisers now that President Trump is terminating taxpayer funding for the public broadcasters. If you support them, you'll have to donate. Well, they say everyone loves a parade, and this one, if it comes to pass, figures to be a real doozy.
The U.S. Army has been planning a 250th birthday festival on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. for June 14th. which just happens to coincide with President Trump's 79th birthday. Detailed plans obtained by the AP call for more than 6,600 soldiers, at least 150 vehicles, 50 helicopters, and 7 bands.
Correspondent Ben Thomas. Wall Street celebrating the latest employment report. The Dow is up 420 points, a gain of more than 1%. The Nasdaq ahead 217. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals, too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Shifting iPhone manufacturing away from China doesn't necessarily mean it will be coming to America.
Donald Trump had expressed that he wanted iPhone production to come to the U.S. That is not happening. iPhones bound for the U.S., most of them are going to be sourced in India. iPads, computers like the Mac computer, and a lot of other popular products that Apple makes that are sold here in the U.S. will see production also moved, concentrated mostly in Vietnam. And important to note, too, when you talk about all the things that Apple sells everywhere else in the world, almost all of that will still be made in China.
The BBC's Lily Jamali. Nash Cole admits feeling some fear when he waded into the ocean off the Australian coast to help rescue a 10-foot great white shark stranded in shallow water. He and a couple of other men did manage to return the shark from a sandbank into deeper water after about an hour's worth of work. News and analysis at townhall.com. Hey, buddy, can you spare a dime? Well, if not, I know where you can find some.
Millions of coins spilled onto a Texas highway after a tractor trailer hauling $800,000 in dimes rolled in an accident early Tuesday morning after veering off the road and overcorrecting. The spill closed a portion of the southbound lanes of US 287 as workers had to get on their hands and knees to pick up the coins. They also used brooms, shovels, and large industrial vacuums to pick up the tiny currency. The tractor trailer appears to be part of a fleet of trucks operated by a company that moves cargo for the government in armored vehicles with armed personnel. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
7.4 earthquake has struck off the southern coasts of Chile and Argentina. Chilean authorities issuing an evacuation alert for the entire Strait of Magellan coast due to a tsunami alert. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel wishing, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tres Inviernos.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 at Roswell Talk FM. Happy Friday. As we start the beginning of the show, this is the longest week in life, and I'm so glad it's finally Friday.
We're almost there.
Like, you legit said Monday feels like a year ago, and I thought back, I was like, you know, you're right. I don't even, what did I do? When was Monday?
Last month.
Right?
It was back in April, man.
It was.
Yep. Yeah. It has been a challenging week, and we're coming towards. We're coming up on the finish line of the school year. Obviously, the seniors got graduation on their mind. Everybody's got summertime on their mind.
It is kind of people start thinking about what they're going to do this summer now.
Yes. Bad time to be a custodian.
Yeah.
Real tough time to be a custodian because I remember those especially the last day.
Yeah.
Because you clean out your locker, you don't really need anything in your backpack. I remember specifically it was my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was my sophomore year. Because I think the year after that, they strictly banned this. But I was getting stuff out of my locker, clearing it out, and I shut my locker, and I looked down the hall, and it's just, you couldn't see the floor.
Yeah,
there's just papers and notebooks and...
That was always like that.
Nonsense. The next year, it was, if you are caught littering in the hallways, you won't receive your diploma.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was, I remember when I went to high school, that last day or two of school when they were in that, it literally people just dumped it in the floor in the middle of the hallway.
Yeah.
And that's what for the life of me. And I didn't deserve nice things back then either, just like the rest of us.
Right.
What was my id in my wall? Because I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to open my wall locker in high school. I had coats from 4 years, because I think I had the same dang locker for a couple of years.
That was how it was at Roswell High. You kept your locker.
And there was science Cheetos bags of years. I mean, there was just, and I never, I'm my senior year, I don't even think I opened that thing. I think I didn't open it until I said it was time. I literally just, because I had a car, I had, you know what I mean? I didn't need a locker anymore. I had a...
Right,
so,
you have your own, it's a new locker.
But I remember going through there, I was like, man, that was my coat from freshman year.
I'm actually kind of ashamed that I never used this as a science project because you could literally do what happens to a sandwich over the course of a year inside of a student's locker.
Yeah.
I did not know this. They'll turn to liquid. Turns out you could turn a sandwich liquid.
Eventually,
all it takes is 1 year inside of a locker.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. It all goes back down eventually.
It
all breaks down eventually.
When we die, we become the grass.
Yeah, you sit in a wall locker long enough, you'll be liquid in a bag too.
Turns out Dude, I want to say something real quick, and this is kind of just like an off-topic aside.
Mm-hmm.
I have to give absolute props to the most brave and, honest to God, fearless actors in Hollywood.
Right.
Anyone who's willing to put themselves inside of a morgue or a drawer at a coroner's.
Oh, yeah.
I saw this the other day. I was watching some random show.
Fear Factor? That sounds like a Fear Factor bit.
It does. But no, it was like a St. Dennis Medical or Scrubs or one of those.
So it was a comedy.
And they were just, they pulled this, this guy out, and that's where he spin his brakes or whatever.
Yeah.
The sheer terror I would feel being stuck inside of a drawer.
Yeah.
Not even knowing that it's been used to house dead people, but just the stuckness,
right.
and I can't get out of it.
In real life, yes. But I feel like on that show, I mean, it's smoke and mirrors. We see this, but he's probably wide open on the other side of that wall, laying on. You know what I mean?
But on Law and Order,
but in real life, yes, that would be
because they use medical closed down medical facilities sometimes for those shots. And just the thought of being stuck inside of a drawer in a morgue.
Hey, Zach Baggins, I'm going to investigate this hospital. That's a move he does.
That's fair.
I'm going to go in this thing and sit and talk with the spirits.
I could not.
And then I'm going to sit in there and just act like I got headaches and crap for an hour. That's why I hate that show now. Yeah. I used to love it at the beginning.
Are they still making them?
Oh, they're still on. I scroll through the thing every once in a while and see it's there. We're doing the thing. And the one guy left years ago, and they've added a bunch of other people that are side characters that run equipment and cameras and all that. But back when it first, it was more about the stuff. Like they do the radio thing and get the voices, or they get the ball to move, or whatever it is. I'm like, that show slowly evolved to Zach Baggins having emotional breakdowns every bit, and he just really I feel a thing. Oh my gosh! And he starts doing something stupid. And I'm like, come on,
he goes,
man.
Here comes the money move.
Yeah. And it's like, come on, I feel these things. They come home with me, and all this other.
Now that he's been
hot
at
garbage.
it for so long, it's he wears his ghosts on him now.
It's because they like affliction shirts. That's why they follow him, you idiot. It used to be cool, but they just turned into hot garbage.
Speaking of affliction shirts, whatever happened to John Gosselin? I just saw he came up in the news the other day for like randomly.
I got a feeling like he's starting to like do better.
Well,
like,
he's doing a lot better.
Like where he was villainized. They're starting to say, well,
what's funny
maybe
is
it wasn't so bad as we thought. Maybe she was crazier than we thought.
Well, here's the thing:
all
those quiet kids are now young adults,
like 30s.
And, well, they're in their teens and 20s, and they're speaking out, and they're saying, "Our mom is banana pants crazy. Our dad was right the whole time." They drove him out, and they're rebuilding their relationship.
So maybe he's starting to get his comeuppance.
Yeah,
his vindication.
He
almost
single-handedly saved the Ed Hardy shirt brand. Like that was the before affliction shirts, kids. It was Ed Hardy.
Like what is his skill set? Like, is his job just to be a celebrity, or does he like
apparently
train
procreation?
But I mean, like, what's his day job? Is he like a lawyer? Is he
I think he was a musician. No, I think he's a musician.
Does he run a?
Let me see.
Own a business? Like, what's this guy do?
Probably now
to make money?
he owns a business. But let's see. What does John Gosselin do?
I mean, because I have no idea. Like, what's your job? It's like, to me, like, that's the thing that got me at the Little People Big World that my wife watches for so many years. Like they raise families and raise kids, but nowhere in this show do they ever go to work.
That tracks. John Gosselin is primarily a DJ. He performs regularly, often playing, so he's a scratch DJ.
Okay.
Playing gigs along the East Coast. Beyond his DJing, he also works in entertainment, including appearances and promotions for other companies. He also
so basically riding the gravy train that is Johnny Capeless.
Yeah. He still has that face. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, he kind of looks.
She could cut her hair and go become a completely different person.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's still got the John Gosselin face.
Yeah.
You can't really escape that. His kids.
I haven't thought
face.
about them in a minute until you said that. I was like, yeah, I have no idea. I wonder. But I did remember saying things that like where he was kind of pariah out there or
I watched
blacklisted.
a YouTube thing about kind of their whole breakdown, like how it all went down.
Yeah.
But then like that was made like 6 years ago, and people are like, we don't. He sort of likes his privacy.
We're doing Netflix documentary.
Right. He maintains his privacy and doesn't really get out that much.
I think that's half of Netflix business nowadays. Is like, remember this thing from the 80s? Remember this thing from the 90s? Remember this thing that went down here in the 70s?
And if we can't get the actual franchise, we're just gonna do the whole decade.
And you know what?
Things.
I complain, but I'm the idiot watching every one of them because I remember.
Right.
But part of me's fascinated to see how society remembers it. Like I was there and lived it, and I have my own personal. But I'm kind of serious. How did the world paint it 10 years later, or whatever it is? So I get more fascinated with that side of it. It's like, that's kind of why I'm a mark for. I love the 80s and 90s back when those were popular, because I'm like, how do people think of that now?
Right.
And to be honest, opinions are different. I was like, that's not correct. Like, you all think this way. That's not how people were thinking back then. That's why it makes more sense to them back then. It's interesting to watch people. Is Barbara here?
Yeah.
It's interesting to watch people with a modern ideals and modern look at things from the past and apply those same ideals to them, and they form their opinion on things. And it's the whole thing when you get back to Civil War and this, and I'm like, you lived in there wasn't this, there wasn't that. The ideals were this. You're thinking from a different perspective, and the Netflix reminds me of that very easily. So.
But here's the crazy thing. So we've all had that collective cultural conscience about one certain thing, whether it was, I mean, you can go back to the MASH finale, the finale of Seinfeld. There's those moments that we all sort of live together, but now everything is so split off and so we're going to have a real hard time maintaining a collective conscience of nostalgia 20 years from now. Like, what do we get nostalgic about for the 2020s? COVID?
Right.
I mean, that's the last thing I can think that we all experienced together.
You know what it's going to be? Bottle flips
The Hawk Tua girl.
The Hawk Tua girl.
Making a surprise comeback. She's the Hawk Tua woman now.
The bevy of memes that they're already, legendaryizing and everything else over the years, that'll be the stuff. It'll be stuff like that.
But I'm wondering if that stuff's going to just continue.
The Cash Me Outside girl's already one of those, and that's still new in my head.
Live your meme, kids.
Some of you kids are like, that was years ago. Like that was like, I was still craving about McChickens or something like that, whatever.
Live your meme. Do you mean live your dream? No, I mean live your meme.
That's right. So it'll be stuff like that. Let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. We'll get you up to date with the weather and all that. What the weather is, your guess is as good as mine, but we'll give you up to date with it. And then shortly thereafter, we'll have Barbara Gomez join us here from Main Street Roswell, give us an update, probably talk a little UFO festival, of course, air races, and just Main Street business here with Barbara in just a few. Later on, we'll get you up to date with news of the local variety, along with your Wall Street business updates and all that good stuff, and whatever else we can come up with for today's show. But first, your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A shower or two possible later on today with a low-pressure system and stationary front nearby. A little bit of sunshine, though, and we'll be in the mid-70s, and it will be a little bit gusty. A few showers possible overnight, down to 50. Sunshine for the most part on Saturday, but we still do have a chance of an afternoon shower. We'll be in the upper 70s. Scattered showers on Sunday, and 80. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, now I'm telling you, he said it could rain today. I'm seeing something
Operational
totally
demands
different.
change fast.
This I'm telling you, this
feel impossible.
I don't think people know what it's going to do today because they keep saying there's a chance of rain here. I'm looking at National Weather Service and it says no chance of rain, just going to be cloudy and sunny. So far, National Weather. Although Charles was in last hour, and he said it was sprinkling. So I don't know, but anyway, according to what I'm saying, 60 right now, humidity's at 60%, winds are blowing out of the northeast at 18 miles per hour. Cloudy today, but gradually becoming sunny, 68 are high today, and it says winds out of the northeast at 10 to 15. However, it is already higher than that. But they're not talking about rain today. Tonight, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 49, east winds 10 to 15, and then 5 to 10 after midnight. Not even rain tomorrow, sunny 76. South winds 5 to 10 early, 10 to 15 for the afternoon. Partly cloudy tomorrow night, overnight low of 50. And then Sunday, all the rain chances. Then it continues through the rest of my next week, through next Thursday. Sunday, we're looking at a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Partly cloudy and 77 for a high. South winds 10 to 15 early, 15 to 20 for Sunday afternoon. Sunday night, a 50% chance of rain, cloudy and 54. Monday, a 40% chance of rain, mostly sunny, 78 for a high. Monday night, 40% chance of rain. Tuesday, no talk of rain, just sunny and 75. But Wednesday, a 30% chance of rain, sunny and 72, and a 20% on Thursday with a high of 77. So good news is it's going to be next week, temperature-wise, we're going to be in the 70s all week. So I'm not complaining. And may or may not get rain. We'll see. So that's what we're looking at. But I don't know. It's sprinkled. I think you're going to get, it's not going to really, really rain today, but don't be surprised if you go outside for a minute and you get pounded with 2 seconds of rain and then it goes away. That's, I think, what we're going to be dealing with today and tomorrow, and then full-on rainage, hopefully, starting Sunday. That's what it sounds like, but maybe none of that will happen. It is 20 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're going to take a minute and a half break, and then Barbara Gomez with Main Street Roswell will join us here on the other side. Don't go away.
This is the time of year we can get all 4 seasons in just one day. Hi, this is Ben Manette from Roswell Seed Company. 1 minute you're sweating in the sun, and the next minute you've got slush in your shoes. But that's winter in Roswell, and after 127 years, we're starting to get used to it. It's too early to plant very much, but you can fertilize pecan trees, spray for dandelions, order your bees, and pick up a new seed catalog. So come see us at Roswell Seed. Like Jim Gill would say, enjoy the warm days, but don't go far from the fire.
Step into a world of knights and fairies at the Lincoln Forest Renaissance Fair, May 16th, 17th, and 18th at Wingfield Park in Ruidoso. Presented by Oso Productions, the fair features thrilling armored combat, over 100 unique vendors, fun for kids, and live music all weekend. Don't miss the Young Dubliners on Saturday night. Sponsored by the Village of Ruidoso and Lincoln County Lodgers Tax, Fusion Medical Spa, Jack's Backstage, and Ruidoso Parks and Recreation. Visit LincolnForestRenFair.com for tickets.
Hi, I'm Chef Anthony Noble at the
Valley Cafe, located at 801 West Brasher in Roswell. We want to welcome you for dinner 5 to 8 p.m. weekdays, except Wednesday we close at 2 p.m. If you haven't tried our food yet, I hope you come try one of our dinner entrees, pasta, soups, salads, burgers, and sandwiches, and our weekly specials as well. Let me make you great dinner. Visit the Valley Cafe at 801 West Brasher, the Orange Building across from Church on the Move in Roswell.
Can't see us in person? Find our full menu on DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Slugs have 4 noses, but no fingers to pick them. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 22 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from Main Street Roswell, Barbara Gomez back with us. Good morning, Barbara.
Well, good morning, Mike.
You look fresh inside because there's a lot going on. I just figure with all the events and everything going on, you probably feel like a chicken with your head cut off.
I do feel like I've been through the grinder, but you know what?
You look rested.
Well, no, that's good to know. See, and I didn't even feel it. Maybe it was the McDonald's coffee I had this morning.
Gave you enough pick me up to get you through your Friday.
Get me through this Friday. But no, things are going good, Mike. You know, things are rocking and rolling. Things are always so busy on Main Street. I know a lot of people don't think that we are, but there's always this background
As a guy
stuff.
that's here every day, it's hopping every day out downtown.
I mean, there's things happening in the background all the time to get things moving on in the district, or an event, or reports to the city, asking for grant money. I mean, there's always something going on.
And we've got a lot of events coming up, and
We do.
and let's face it, these are golden opportunities for Main Street businesses and
That's right.
and not just Main Street business,
Right.
but you deal with Main Street, so Main Street businesses are gonna,
Right.
and so you got to get ready. Even if the event, UFO Festival is gonna be right in your backyard, right
That's
in your
right.
kitchen,
Right,
but
that's right.
but like Reno Air Races, which are technically not downtown per se, but they are very much downtown,
Right.
and that when people are done watching races and are tired, or if they need a break, guess where they're going to be? Downtown, eating, shopping, hanging out, maybe enjoying a concert, or at one of the restaurants. Some people playing live music, things like so. This Main Street in Roswell is getting kind of 2 Black Fridays now with UFO Festival, and now potentially the Reno Air Race.
That's right. And even though the races don't start until September, a lot of the pilots
this month,
and their teams are
this
coming
month
in
they will
in
be
May.
here getting their licensing and say,
Oh, yeah.
every single person that has to fly in that will be here this month to get certified.
They have to
So
get
we're going to have
certified, requalified
a mini
again.
version of it this month here. We won't have all the bells and whistles and the crowds, but there's going to be thousands of people migrating to Roswell here this month.
Because even though they were in Reno before, they have to, I guess, get certified.
It's a new
here
course,
in New Mexico,
and because
a new
of the nature of
course,
what they're doing, they got to know it like the back of their hand. They just don't show up on there because of the speeds and what they're doing. So they get to learn the course, practice the course, know its twists and turns. So when
Right.
it's time to compete,
That
they can do it
sounds
safely.
interesting, Mike. How do you have to look at the course in the sky? Aren't the skies the same everywhere? I mean, what exactly?
Well,
is,
they fly
it's not
around
like
pylons and things, and so they set up a course that like a track that they fly on up there.
Okay.
Think of it like a racetrack without asphalt. It's the pylons, and so they race to the pylons and things like that.
Okay,
But how
got
the
it.
pylons are set up is going to be different than Reno. So they got to know.
Okay, so gotta know.
There's going to be a lift. It's kind of like if you watch NASCAR, and I don't want to get too in the weeds, but like. They go to Talladega and they handle the car and the track a certain way because that's how the track is. And then they go to Bristol and it's a whole different thing.
Got it.
Same kind of deal with the airplanes, how they tweak them, how they tune them.
I understand.
But the actual flying of it, where some of them are drag races, but some are circuits, like a oval, but in the air.
Yeah.
And they're racing.
Because that's kind of how they've described it. When they're talking about it, it's like a car race, but in the air.
Yeah, and so
that's interesting.
And so they got to know the course, so to speak, and they got to. And it's not like NASCAR where there's this big thing of asphalt that you got to know the pylons and go. And so
okay,
and so it's a matter
that
of
makes really
and so
good
you got to
sense.
kind of
I didn't
feel
quite
it,
understand
know it,
that,
and
but
but
you're right. Lots of people are going to be here, so be prepared. Think about it. Think about how to make your store look inviting. Be ready to welcome people from out of town, people that you've never seen before, and show them a few things about Roswell and be friendly.
Absolutely.
I mean, just be friendly.
So when you see a lot of out of towners in town, over
they
the
might be
couple weeks,
wearing their little zip up suits. What are those things? flight.
These are the
outfit.
people that need to know of the green chili.
That's what they need to know. I thought you were going to say green men, but you said green chili.
Chili.
But
They already know about the men. We got to teach them about the chili.
Right. I love it whenever I talk to somebody that's from somewhere else that came to Roswell, and the first few, let's say, months or 6 months or whatever, they're like, why is green chili on everything? Why is red chili on everything?
Why is the sky blue? We don't know. It's just
and then because they're from Indiana or from wherever,
right?
And they just don't get it. But then after a few months, they're like, "Give me some green chili.
Make it
green
red. Chili on anything.
Put green chili on everything." So that's really cool.
They're good on sausage too. They just start throwing things. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know. Yeah,
We've been doing it for years.
We know. So, Mike, in our effort on Main Street Roswell, to make sure that we are recognized as an entity and what we can do for merchants specifically in the district, but overall we do a lot for the community. I think it enhances the community itself.
Absolutely. It's a gathering place.
It's a gathering
this
place.
Is a community meeting space as much as it is our downtown.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what we did most recently is we decided that we were going to go through a rebranding process. And so it's kind of cool and interesting to go through a rebranding because you get to look at yourself, but you also get to ask other people like you and the community, businesses, the district, even visitors to tell us, how does our downtown look to you? What would you like to see happen?
What's your impressions of it?
Yeah, what's your impression? So right now we put out a survey. It's on Main Street Roswell Facebook page. You can also get a link if you want to. Just give me a call or send me an email, and I'll send you a link. It's a really, it looks like a long one because I did it page by page, but this survey will only take less than 10 minutes to fill out. But it asks questions, like some of the questions are, in your opinion, what is the perception of Main Street District to current residents? Okay, what is the perception of Main Street to visitors and tourists?
Gotcha.
And we're just asking for your opinion. Talk about our logo. What do you think about our logo?
And this is what, for all those folks that love to go on social media and talk, which we all do. We all do. This is, you know what? It may feel good and be fun, but it will do little to fix what you're either enjoying or hating or enhancing what you're enjoying. This is what this survey is for. They want to hear the good, the bad, the ugly. They want to say, what is it that you love about it? What is it that you hate about it? What is it?
Yeah, what can we do better? That kind of thing.
Based on other knowledge, you're just walking in. What's your thoughts on this thing?
Right.
And kind of, it's so valuable because let's face it, yourself, the Main Street Board, the people, they're dedicated to work, but sometimes you can't see the forest from the trees.
That's right.
And,
That's right. We're too close
you have
to
your
the
own
situation.
impressions and thoughts and things on it, but you don't have that outside perspective of someone who I just wanted to come downtown and have a meal or go do some shopping, and what's their experience like?
Right.
And that's what I want to know.
And I think in the same vein, Mike, we like to complain about our Main Street, but sometimes you go out of town and come back, say, wow,
the grass ain't always greener.
Ours is not that bad.
Yeah.
It really looks great. Those flowers look good. The trees look great during Christmas.
Sometimes your own house isn't the thing you think is nice, and then you leave and come back and you're like, well, my house is nicer than I thought it was.
Pretty nice.
Same kind of deal, yeah.
But, we want to know what your favorite things to do in the district are. So we've listed a lot of things. And this survey only takes, like 5 to 10 minutes. We've emailed a bunch of them out. We've blasted them here and there. So if you didn't get one and you want to give us your opinion, please do. But just keep in mind that this survey is focused on the assets, opportunities, and challenges of the Main Street District, and not the city as large. So I don't need to know what's happening on the south side or way north at the mall. Those aren't
but
things.
In the Main Street corridor.
But in the district, that is what is the heart of Roswell.
Which, by the way, remind folks the Main Street corridor. I know it's bigger than most people think.
Right.
And it is not all of Main Street either.
No, because if it was... everything that is in the district is what we're responsible to help to revitalize.
Yeah.
So it starts on 8th Street, just the other side of McDonald's, and it ends on Alameda.
Yes.
Okay? And that's the north-south side of it. Going east and west, going east, it goes to Virginia and encompasses the Railroad District. Going west, it encompasses Richardson
Yeah.
to the alley.
Think of it as a big rectangle where, if you, like you said, north to south from Alameda to 8th, but then take a block east or west of Main Street,
Yes.
and that's the Main Street corridor.
And if you want to
basically.
see that on our webpage, mainstreetroswell.org, if you want to look at that, there is a map of the district. If you're wondering, I had this man talk to me not too long ago, and he already has a business in the district.
Okay.
But he was telling me about his new business. He's like, Barbara, you got to come see my new business. It's in the district. I'm so excited. And I said, okay, what's your address? He gave me the address, and it was past Alameda. And
Just
he's like,
outside.
Are you sure you can't scoot the district over? And I said, I can't. It's a whole lot of work to change a district.
We'll show you love in our promotions and everything.
We'll come see you every once in a while.
You're a neighbor. Bring, next time we have a picnic, bring a salad and come on over.
Come on over.
Bring the Jell-O and let's go.
Yeah, but I mean, so please, and Mike, I don't know if you got your survey or not, but if you didn't, I'll make sure you get a copy of it.
Okay, I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean I didn't.
And then
sometimes things go to other people's hands before they
maybe
get
Mike will
to
share
me.
it with you once I send it to him. So
Yes.
if you're interested,
We can get it online and all that stuff. And
yeah, we're getting ready to close it up.
I would say, what's the deadline on getting those turned in?
We're probably gonna need it next week already.
Okay, so you got maybe this weekend or
maybe
today
at the
or
end of next week,
okay,
probably.
or maybe first part next week
Right.
and get it knocked
We do
out.
have over 100 people that have replied
Good.
already.
Well, that's good, but that's a low number.
That's a low number.
We're a
need
town
more.
of 50,000.
Yeah.
I would like to see at least 1,000 or so
Sure, I would
responses.
too.
That would be a fair number, I think.
Yeah, and out of those people that turn in their surveys, we're also going to pick about 5 different focus groups that we're going to just focus on you. Maybe we're talking about, people that are in government. Maybe people
The
that
niches
are
of Main
in,
Street,
and entertainment. Maybe you're here and you're part of youth or part of retired people.
Sure.
We want everyone's opinion. So we will maybe reaching out to you to put you on a focus group, see if you're interested.
Well, and that's just it, because it's a community space that serves the community. And therefore, you want to offer as much things that the community would enjoy. And this is like when you're partnering with the county and we're talking about this space, that the project that's going to be coming to fruition here with the potentially a new kind of gathering space downtown for folks. This is the reason for that stuff. It's to continue making that, to continue to where we would love to see on a Friday night or whatever, a family comes downtown, they go and have dinner and hang out and check out maybe a show or do a little shopping or just hang out in the park and watch a movie or something. I mean, whatever's going on, we every weekend that's what the downtown scene's like. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And a lot of you say, and I've heard it said before, well, why don't you guys do this or why don't you guys do that? Like I said, this is your opportunity, but also just know that these things just don't pop up. We have to ask for funding. And a lot of times they want to know the community's perception and community's input about some of the things we're doing.
Sure.
So anyway.
And to be honest, if you guys are doing stuff and people aren't getting any results from it, you're like, well, when we need to get, but this is what to tell you that.
Yeah.
It's like, we thought this was important. That's
But
why we put a
maybe
lot
it's
of
not.
effort in it. But if people don't care about it, then we'll move on.
Yeah, we'll move on to something else.
That's what this survey's about.
That's absolutely what it is. So anyway, with that, I'm going to talk about a new business coming to the district. The new business is called Degenerate Coffee.
All right.
By the way, it used to be a
I feel like
tent.
this is run by a Gen Xer.
Yes, Degenerate Coffee.
I feel like a Gen X person, someone like my age, is who appreciates the I don't like society, but I like society type mindsets.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
that's Gen X.
Yeah. So they're going to be located. Well, they're already located at 304 North Richardson Avenue. I went to see them the other day. Tanner is the name of the young man that's running that. They're going to be roasting fresh coffee daily.
Nice.
They will not be open until June, so I'll
Well,
let you guys know when it gets
I'm going to
open.
take up a hunch because it's a coffee place. You'll know when they're open. You'll smell that coffee
you will
roast.
smell
You're like,
it.
they're open.
So it's in that one block between 3rd and 4th Street.
Yeah.
I mean, we got 2 fantastic coffee places. I mean, with
Absolutely. Stellar's always.
Stellar's right there.
And what I love about them is they're that community. They're the perfect community business of Main Street. You know what I mean? Like they're there. You want to get a cup of support them, buy food and drinks and everything. But if your group, your organization needs a place to hang out or do, they're always opening their doors, to the
other
community.
day. Yeah.
And so, yes, we're blessed to have Stellar here, and now a second coffee shop. You know what? Now you got you got two hands, hit one block cover cup. By the time you're empty there, you hit the other place and grab another cup of Joe.
Yeah, so, we're really trying to promote the businesses on Main Street.
They can put Starbucks right across the street from each other. We can have two coffee shops downtown.
That's right. That's right. And it's local, so that's the cool part about it.
Support local. Absolutely.
So anyway, moving on to something kind of interesting. There's a station that was called KLAQ. They posted 4 weird and quirky ways to have fun in New Mexico.
Nice.
And guess who made it to the list? Yes, us.
Nice.
UFO Festival
Of
made
course.
it to the list. Okay, but the other things
it's
that
the International UFO Festival.
I had to scratch my head.
Mm-hmm.
Hatch Chili Festival. Why is that weird or quirky?
I guess, you know what?
I don't know.
I think for us New Mexicans, it's not. But I think from people on the outside looking in, it's like you have a whole celebration over a chili. Yeah. I imagine it's like when others, because I'm going to take a stab. Like, you always hear, like, you go to, like, Iowa, and it's like, it's the corn festival or whatever it is. Yeah. This is our corn festival.
Or the curd.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
And we all look at those as kind of, so I think the rest of the country looks at that as our corn festival or our, whatever, and we have the Miss Corn.
Kind of a weird thing.
Here's Miss Corn, Iowa 20, I think that's what they think of it. And so, yeah.
So there's another one called Mardi Gras in the Mountains, and it's at the San Cristo Mountains.
Oh, okay.
I printed it and it didn't show up, so I don't know where it's
So they
at.
get partying in the mountains, basically.
Yeah, like
sounds
a party
cool.
in the mountains. And then there's one other thing. Let me see. Oh, it's called Samutari de Chimayo, New Mexico.
Is that the pilgrimage?
It's like a really holy, like a pilgrimage.
That's like they just did it for Good Friday.
They just did it.
Yeah, that's the Chimayo. That's a tradition that Chimayo. You know what? That's as a guy that grew up in D.C. and all that, and then when I came and moved to New Mexico back in the military many, many years ago, I saw the first things on the news about the Chimayo walks, and I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was unusual, but once I learned what it was, I was like, what an amazing tradition. What a cool thing it is.
Yeah, really cool tradition.
It was just lack of knowledge. And once I knew, I thought, what a beautiful thing.
There's so many things that happen in the whole state of New Mexico, Mike, that I have never done, that I've heard about it and go, oh, the hot springs. Oh, this walk that I never go. I've not been to the Hatch Festival. I'm told it's fantastic. I have a friend that drives up there every year, comes back with bushels of chili. Now, if you can't make it there, you can always go to our local places here in town.
We got you covered in Roswell. You don't have to go to Hatch to get chili.
You don't have to do that. You can get it at farmers markets. I mean, like at our farmers market on a Saturday in September.
Or go out to one of their farms out here.
Graves Farms and get yourself some green chili.
Don't forget, in July, Main Street will be doing their farmers market per tradition.
That's right, starting the second weekend in July.
Maybe not July, but the end of July, 1st of August. That's about when the chili start rolling into the farmers market.
And then, of course, we have our September Chili Cheese Festival, so for sure they'll be roasting chili there.
But give it a couple weeks for the green chili at the usually just by tradition.
Hey, you can.
It's not ready yet by the beginning of it. By about 3 weeks in, it starts showing up.
Right, but you know what? There's all other kinds of vegetables.
Oh, there's going to be plenty.
There's going to be even jalapenos.
But you're going to have to wait about 3 weeks for the green
like
chili. But and that's just it. Go to Graves Spot. Like I know this is not the Main Street corridor, but I'm going to throw it anyway. They got their farm store. You can go out there every day and pick up anything from fresh eggs and salsas to their produce they grow out on the farm.
Honey, they have honey out there.
Yeah,
I used to get it from the Masons, and now they got their honey bees. So
if you can't wait for them to bring it to Main Street, then go out there to them.
Go out there. plus it's a fun drive out there. It is a really nice drive.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about what's coming up really quick here. It seems really quick to me, but Mike, you know what? I think we're doing pretty good this year. I've been hustling like crazy. But the UFO Festival is coming.
Yes.
Now, traditionally, it is the first weekend in July. Now, what has happened this year is that July the 4th is a holiday for the city of Roswell. Right?
It's a federal holiday.
Well, it's a national holiday everywhere. So they said, hey, Barbara, we're going to be closing up the streets early. You know what I'm saying? You can close them up Thursday. And so
the way the calendar aligned, it just kind of worked out that we can kind of extend the downtown parts.
Right. So Some of the food trucks will be open. Some of the vendors will be open. They'll set up. There won't be music yet because the stages won't be ready to go until Friday. But if you don't have anything to do on Thursday, you want to come out not as busy, you can come out on Thursday.
Like if you want to knock out some of the eating and shopping side of it, and Thursday might be the day to go. That way you can focus on the things, the concerts, the other activities that are going on Saturday,
all the vendors
Friday,
are
Saturday,
pop up, throughout the district.
Yeah, so maybe make that Thursday as the day to go visit some of the downtown vendors and whatever merchants that are downtown having sales that'll start that way, and just doing your shopping and because you always get that's part of the UFO Festival, scoping and finding those weird
just get the lay of the
dinosaur
land
eggs or weird foods, and so you can kind of scope and do some of that, and then come back Saturday and pick your favorites that you want to do again or whatever. But that way you can kind of because it seems like every UFO festival sometimes goes, man, there was a thing I missed I didn't get a chance to do.
I wanted that
maybe
T-shirt.
knock that
I never
on
made it back that
so
direction.
Knock it on Thursday.
Yeah, so go on Thursday. But here's another cool thing, Mike. Whenever we were doing our surveys to talk about tourists and who came to town and when they got here, we found that a lot of tourists come a week before the event and stay a week after the event. Wow,
that's impressive. I didn't know that.
So to help those people that are coming in early, starting on July the 1st, July 2nd, July 3rd. Okay. If you're doing something, let's say you are at Peppers, and you have karaoke night on, whatever, July the 1st.
We'll call it pre-gaming.
Pre-gaming.
Any pre-gaming stuff you got set up.
And it doesn't have to happen in the district. So maybe something is happening at Bottomless Lakes.
Or maybe Grace Farm's got something going on.
Right.
Or maybe, whatever it is.
Or maybe the museum.
Yeah.
Over here, the Historical Museum. So what we're asking the community to do is let us know if you have anything going on. July the 1st, July the 2nd, July the 3rd.
If your civic group has any big event coming
if you have something going on, if maybe you have music, maybe the museum has something going on, a singer, a dancer, like I said, karaoke over at Pepper's Grill or something. Let us know. We will add it into our complete schedule.
Or if you had nothing planned and now you heard this and said, I'm going to plan something.
Well, think of it this way. I've had a few of my hotels and RV parks say to me, Barbara, I have people coming in early and they're always asking, what is there to do in this town?
You're right. And this is the game with tourism. How do you make the most bang? You want to keep them here as the longest as humanly possible to spend the most. So and that's why we talk about these, and you want to create so when they come here, whether it's for the aliens or for the airplanes or for whatever,
or the laser tag, saying come
once they come here.
Once you get here,
what are we going to do
now? Show you our town, not just the district. Of course, I'm kind of partial. I want you in the district.
Sure.
But if you have something going on someplace else outside the district, let us know.
All of it is put it this way. The Main Street corridor's reputation is Roswell's reputation. When people come out of town, they're not going to say Roswell's nice because the Main Street corridor stunk or vice versa. They're going to lump it all together as in Roswell was nice or Roswell was not. And so we can put labels on all this and talk about, and yes, and we're focusing on Main Street here, but UFO Festival is way bigger than Main Street. The Reno Air Races is obviously but it's all interconnected and it's all begats each other to survive. Put it this way, if the rest of the community, it's hard for them to thrive if you have a weak Main Street corridor. Because it is a draw. And so the Main Street needs the outside like the outside needs Main Street. It is all connected.
That's right. And we're putting together with the help of the city of Roswell, there will be a map that talks about different things happening throughout the corridor. And so we'll make sure that you get those maps. They're like tear sheets so you can give them to tourists. But do me a favor. If somebody walks in there, the worst thing that anybody can say if they ask you from out of town, what is there to do here, is to say, I don't know, or there's absolutely nothing to do. Try to think of a couple of things that you can tell them. Have you seen the miniature museum? Have you seen the toy museum? Have you been over to the UFO museum? Have you been to the rock place? I mean, there's all kinds of interesting things.
Or if they ask where's a good place to eat, you tell them your favorite places to eat.
That's right.
You're like, hey, what are you looking for? You're like Mexican? Okay, well, maybe we'll take you down to El Toro Bravo or Martins or whatever your favorite place is.
Or even if you say Antiguas or somebody
whatever
off the
your favorite place is, tell them.
You tell them, and or You know, a lot of times you forget about it, Mike, but I don't know if people have ever visited the Paleteria across the street from, and if you're not familiar about what that is.
You love sweet treats, man.
Oh, my goodness. That's a place right across the street from Pepper's Grill.
Yeah.
And
5th Street or whatever that is.
I mean, they've got ice cream, they've got popsicles, they've got drinks. My favorite is a thing with strawberries and bananas and cream. Oh, my goodness.
Put it this way. Everything that works great in warmer weather that's coming up right now.
And it's a nice, clean, friendly location.
Absolutely.
So go by and see them. By the way, we are still looking for food trucks. We're still looking for vendors. So if
Reach out.
If you were saying, because I had a few people call me and say, but Barbara, I thought you were going to send me that form. And I was like, no, we changed over to an online registration.
Everything's digital.
Everything's digital. So you can sign up at ufofestival.com. Okay, that's it. Very easy.
Go there.
Festival.
And I think there's like a vendor form or
there's
something.
There's a vendor form. There's a food truck form. Soon there will be schedule of events.
Once we get that locked down here in the coming weeks here, you'll see the actual the agenda. Now, this is the thing we got to remind folks, because of the flooding and the convention center, that's all off the table this year.
Yes.
So like Galacticon and all that's all moving downtown this year.
Moving downtown.
So it's going to be the UFO festival, but different than what you know.
Right.
So a lot of the traditions will be there. It just won't necessarily be in the same places.
Right. I mean, I'm glad that Galacticon is with us. I'm sorry about the convention center, but I'm very glad that they have a place to go.
But the whole UFO experience is really here in Main Street now.
Right. And so there will be, inflatables, there will be foam parties, there will be stilt walkers, there'll be the whole thing that you're used to seeing, but it's going to be expanded. You know, Mike, everything from 5th Street all the way to Alameda is where we'll be this year. Okay, so if you've been a vendor or have never been a vendor, please give us a call or go look at ufofestival.com. I know that some of my traditionally first people that line up and things are saying, but Barbara, my booth is gone. And I said, I told you guys, because this year you can register online, you can pick your location.
Things are different.
You can pay for it online, and you can even advertise for yourself online directly off of a program that we...
The things evolving into modern conveniences, the modern technology, the way of the... Now, and I get it, you get old school here, but when in terms of tracking and monitoring and keeping something as big as this, the less pieces of paper and he said, and I do this, that avoids the less confusion. That way, if there's one funnel, one channel, all goes through here, everybody can see it. Everybody can access.
It's a fair access to any booth that you want.
So it eliminates mistakes on Barbara's end.
Oh yeah.
And it also
a lot of work
gives
too,
everybody the same opportunity. It's because like there's so many moving parts, and this is to make, when you
make it more efficient.
Anytime you're trying to make a big event with small potatoes, you got to use whatever technology and innovations to make you bigger than you have to, and this is one of those things that are needed.
But you know what, Mike? What's really cool is whenever I was working on getting this event managing program, I contacted all the main streets within my district. I'm talking all the way from Lovington to Alamogordo to Clovis, and said, what do you guys use? Barbara, we do it exactly like you do, a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a spreadsheet works for a small event. When I say small, sort of like the chili cheese.
Sure, we're dealing with hundreds of people instead of thousands of people.
But whenever I'm talking about a UFO festival and I've got musicians calling me, vendors calling me, it becomes easy to make a lot of mistakes.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
there is a big difference between planning a hundreds of people event versus a thousands of people.
Right. So now we get to be the first kids on the block that have it. So now I can share it with my counterparts in other areas.
Absolutely. So please, go to the UFOfestival.com website for everything. If you want to be a vendor, if you want to be a food truck, if you want to be a volunteer, if you want to do anything involved with the UFO Festival, that is your one-stop shop to get in touch with Barbara or find information on how to do said thing.
Yeah, I just had somebody send me a message today on my Facebook, and they said, is there going to be something different this year besides food trucks? And I was like, where shall I start? But so just be aware that there's a lot going on if you've never been here. But if you are someone, I just had a man come into my office yesterday and said, you know what, Barbara, I'll help you. I actually live in Hobbs, but I will be in town. So you tell me if you need anything, and I will help you.
Just a volunteer.
Just a volunteer. So if you have...
He must be an Alien fan.
Yeah, must be. Actually, his wife's got a business here, so he's...
so there is a foot in the door. So
there is, kind of.
Yeah.
And another big thing that we have going on tomorrow, so I'm excited about the good weather. Tomorrow is Community Planting Day on Main Street.
So if you want to get... this is that day or that time of year where when you do walk downtown, you see the flower pots and the beautiful spring flowers are all blooming and everything. This is the weekend they make that happen, folks.
That's right. That's right. And we need volunteers. So we will be starting at 9 a.m. at the Chaves County Courthouse lawn. So come, bring your gloves, your little shovels.
Perfect family gig. Get the mom and dad and bring the kids, and y'all can go out there and they'll break you up into different areas to work on the planting boxes and things like that. But perfect family outing.
Perfect. And, we get our plants from Roswell Seed, and Ben and Manat and the people there always help us out with flowers and with potting soil.
A longtime Main Street corridor resident, by the way.
Yeah. And that's right. They've been there for a long time.
Probably one of the longest, matter of fact.
That's right. I bet so.
I don't think there's many older in that corridor than Roswell Seed.
Right. And a big thank you to keep Chaves County beautiful. They provide the funding for the flowers.
They do great work over there.
And they're, you know what?
By the way, reach out to them. If you want to do like cleanups of your parks or your neighborhoods and things, reach out to the Keep Chaves County Beautiful. They will help you. They will give you bags and help you organize the event and all that stuff.
Trash cans.
The only thing that they do is they collect data. So they want you to tell you how many bags they collect and all that, because to give you all that free stuff, they've got to report back what they're doing with it.
Right.
So that's the rub is, look, we'll give you the free stuff, but you got to tell us what you're doing with it so we can tell them
all
that
of this goes
well,
back
it's just to make sure it's, again, taxpayer money.
Sure.
They're going to fund this program, but we're abusing it. They want to know that, and so they
right.
stop funding
They're not going to give you money if they don't know what you're doing.
So it's just a proof to say that we're continuing to. So A, to keep the funding and keep it going, utilize it, and B, use this as an excuse to maybe get to your neighbors and all that kind of stuff. And all through Keep Roswell Beautiful, all that. Keep
So
Chaves County Beautiful, they help with all that.
Yeah, if you have a group out there, what do you call it, a high school, group of some sort, maybe the Key Club, maybe the Circle K, maybe the Assistings, Boy Scouts. Anybody that you have out there,
you know what?
Come out and help us.
I imagine you talk to Barbara. There's probably a few places in the corridor she could say, "Yeah, you want to clean up here? I'll send you over there to go pick up some
right,
stuff."
Or even help us out this week.
Yeah, but definitely come out for the flower thing. That's a lot of fun.
Sure, it's a lot of fun.
I think it's one of the more popular parents and kids type events where you get out there and especially if the kids are younger, it's like, you ever plant? We're going to show you how to plant a plant here today. And make it an education.
So it's multi-ages. You can be young, bring your kids, if you have a friendly dog on a leash, you're more than welcome to bring it. Miss Juliana Halverson always brings her dogs with her.
You might want to bring the bags and appropriate things so when your dog leaves things, you pick them up.
Yeah, don't leave those on Main Street. And you can always go have some coffee at Stellar when you're done.
Yeah.
This whole thing, literally, because if we get a lot of volunteers, we start at 9 and we're usually done by 11:30.
Yeah. And the good news is, according to tomorrow's weather forecast, should be not too hot, not too cold.
No, it's going to be great.
Should be beautiful weather for planting some plants in the boxes.
Yeah,
and things.
And a big shout out to Rudy and to Jim Burrs and the people at the Parks Department. They've come out and made sure that the watering system is working on those pots. So if you're wondering, some of them look kind of dead. Barbara, what's going on there? Some of those watering systems were not working well on the east side, so the flowers on the east side of the street are looking a little sad. So maybe you might want to drive by and drop a bottle of water in there.
I was going to say, a lot of times the Main Street business owners, they will go out and kind of help and do that thing. But yeah, you know, a little extra help there, and obviously the city will, you know, they're working as best they can to get those things
you know,
fixed.
They are seriously a cell phone away to go fix something.
But it's life, anything else. Things break. You build things, they break sometimes.
Right.
That's what happens.
Right. And I mean, I got 2 calls last week from the same location. Hey, Barbara, there's water running down the street off of this pot. And I was like, I didn't even know there was any water working there. I thought the water didn't work there.
There's water, sweet.
Oh, good. But can we get it going into the pot instead of the street? So I just picked up the phone and called Rudy, and he got his crew over there like right away. Yeah. And he said, Barbara, do you want us to water early? Because we're going to water every single morning for a couple of hours, and then we will come back Saturday after you're done and do another deep watering on all your flowers.
Very good.
I do appreciate the city of Roswell.
Roswell Seed, when they donate the flowers, they probably give you a little bit. All right, this is how you plant them. This is what.
Yeah, they give us.
This is the recipe book to make these beautiful.
Right. What would Jim Gill do, right?
Yes, but here's what Jim Gill would do.
This
Perfect.
is what Jim Gill would do. But anyway, so like I said, Mike, that's about all I have to talk about today, other than to say
MainStreetRoswell.org is the website.
Yes.
If you want more information about, like, if you want to set up a business in Main Street.
You want to do farmers market.
Or sign up for farmers market. Yep. And then UFOfestival.com.
That's right.
Is everything for this year's UFO Festival.
So yeah, you can find, for right now, you're going to find the food trucks and the vendors. Soon you will see schedules. Yeah. But it's got our information, so you can call us if you have questions.
And then 9:30 tomorrow. Where are you guys gathering?
9 a.m.
We're at on
Travis County Courthouse
right
lawn.
on the courthouse lawn at 9 a.m.
Right on the courthouse lawn.
If you want to help plant some flowers, it should be done by noon, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I don't think it would take
that
long.
That late, maybe 2 hours.
11:30 or so. But bring your gloves, bring a hat, sunblock if you're one of those type people that needs to make sure you don't get burned.
Just appropriately,
just appropriately.
But I got to be honest,
water.
Based on what I'm looking, tomorrow's forecast is sunny and 76. By 9 a.m., it might be crisp, might want a little light coat.
Yeah, so
but by the time
really
you're done,
nice.
you're probably putting that around your waist. So
right,
be good.
Right. So bring your kids.
Absolutely. Come have fun and get ready to get a little dirty. Not a lot dirty, just a little. We're not digging in the dirt, just in planter boxes.
That's right, just in planter boxes.
We're not going to create a manhole cover. We're not digging into the asphalt or nothing.
No.
We're not going to dig a hole in the Travis County Courthouse lawn. They'd probably get a little.
They wouldn't like
little
that.
peeved
I'd be
if we
in
did
trouble.
that. So, thank you, Barbara.
You're
always.
welcome.
It is 9:57. Let's pause for news, and we'll try to work in sports, maybe weather before we get kicked off the radio. Don't go away.
With your Pecos Valley News Update, I'm Jared Cirillo. Our top story, the New Mexico Military Institute Board of Regents has approved a couple of change orders for a few projects. They're also opting to allow a student candidate to attend the junior college. The student would otherwise be too old to study there before the school year's end. Lieutenant Colonel Christina Stark said the student candidate is a Brazilian citizen and an exceptional student who has already completed a 2-year aviation program in Brazil. And a woman was airlifted out of Devil's Ink well in New Mexico after she and a man fell in Wednesday morning. The Chavez County Sheriff's Office said the woman's injuries were being assessed a little after 8 in the morning. The man who fell in was able to climb back up and call for help. Roswell Fire, Bottomless Lake State Park Rangers, and sheriff's deputies responded to the scene in the Bottomless Lakes area just after 7 in the morning. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. Tough day for the Goddard Rockets baseball team at home yesterday, shut out by Artesia 5-0, and that means that Goddard today playing a doubleheader in Artesia would have to win both games to secure the district championship. Also baseball today, you got Roswell playing a single game at Clovis. That starts at 5 o'clock. Softball action yesterday, Goddard loses a pair at home to Lovington 6-2 and 12-11. The Rockets finished the season 14-12 and 3-6 in district play. Roswell will be hosting Clovis, a doubleheader that starts at 4:30 this afternoon. Roswell 8-16, 4-6 in district. Clovis 1-23, so tack on a couple extra wins for the Coyotes in all likelihood there. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A shower or two possible later on today with a low-pressure system and stationary front nearby. A little bit of sunshine, though, and we'll be in the mid-70s, and it will be a little bit gusty. A few showers possible overnight, down to 50. Sunshine for the most part on Saturday, but we still do have a chance of an afternoon shower. We'll be in the upper 70s. Scattered showers on Sunday, and 80. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Your home for Armed American Radio is 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
Protections for Venezuelan migrants.
The Trump administration is asking the Supreme Court to temporarily strip legal protections from 350,000 Venezuelans. The Justice Department wants the High Court to put on hold a ruling from a federal judge that kept in place temporary protected status for Venezuelans that would have expired in April. That status allows people in the U.S. to live and work legally because their home countries are considered unsafe for their return. A federal appeals court earlier rejected the administration's request. Mike Hemp in Washington.
Also at townhall.com, the Labor Department says a better-than-expected 177,000 jobs added in April. Hiring was down slightly from a revised 185,000 in March. The unemployment rate stayed at 4.2%. China's Commerce Ministry says that Beijing is evaluating multiple approaches by the Trump administration for trade talks, but steep tariffs imposed by Washington must go. Bernie Bennett explains.
A ministry statement reiterated China's stance that is open to talks, but also that Beijing is determined to fight if it must. It said one-sided tariffs of up to 145% remain an obstacle, undermining trust. The statement cited an unnamed ministry spokesperson as saying that Beijing had taken note of various statements by senior U.S. officials indicating a willingness to negotiate over tariffs. But it emphasized that China would regard overtures without a change in President Donald Trump's sharp tariff hikes as insincere. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Stocks are higher on Wall Street following the stronger-than-expected report on the U.S. job market. The Dow up 488 points, the Nasdaq Composite adding 266.